Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Night Owl, a show that we do twice a week where we talk about all the latest in pop culture news, TV and movie reviews, gaming news, and just the general conversations of the day. For those who don't know me, I'm Price of Reason, and with me, as always, past week excluded, but as almost always, is the professor, Professor R2. How's it going, man?
Oh, it's going all right. I hope everyone out there had some lovely, relaxing holidays. I know I didn't. So
Yours
it
weren't
was
relaxing?
oh God no. it was drive here, drive there, do this, do that, do this thing, get home. Next. It was insanely busy. So yeah, it was not a chill holiday for me, but that's all right. It is what it is.
It's okay. It's a holiday at least.
Yeah, yeah.
I was pretty I think it was a pretty relaxing holiday for me. It wasn't stressful, but I don't have to do the kind of activities that you do. We're in a different situation, but yeah, I understand. I barely I ate some turkey barely. That was the most I think I did for this holiday.
Little some was it did you barely eat some turkey or was what you ate barely turkey?
Uh I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. But in any case, I think that if I don't know if I'm looking at the numbers correctly, it could be that somebody rated us. Could it be? Oh no, maybe not.
Well,
This was the weirdest
no.
thing now.
Oh,
It looked like such a fluctuation of strange numbers, but I suspect that I was just imagining it. I feel like those kids
that's
on that stupid I don't know if it's stupid. I tried watching one of those episodes of Welcome to Dairy. Have you watched that?
no interest whatsoever in that. So no, I haven't watched it.
I watched the movies, the It movies that this Andy Machete did. He did terribly with that Flash movie, but as much as that Flash movie was terrible, I can't fully pin all the crap that goes on in that movie on Andy Machete. I suspect that Andy Machete guy was put in a very, very difficult situation with him making that Flash movie. I mean, between the constant ownership changes, the changes in creative directions, the reshoots over and over again, the different decisions with the DC universe, what to do, Ezra Miller himself getting in trouble every second and nobody knowing what to do. It seems like it was a nightmare to make that movie. So, as much as I think the movie is stupid, I don't really sit around and fully blame that guy because maybe there's other movies that he can do that are okay, and I'm willing to give him some leeway. Did you ever watch that stupid Flash movie?
Oh, unfortunately, yes. Yes, I did.
It was. It was a
That
very
was
bad
that
movie.
that was one that I was willing to sit down and watch, even though I knew it was going to be an absolute disaster. I knew when they were first sort of promoting it with Ezra Miller and everything in it. I was like, this is gonna stink. This is gonna be a real mess.
It
And
w
I was right. It was a huge mess. And man, maybe some of the worst CGI I've seen since the early 90s. The special effects, the CGI they had in that film was some of the smeariest, messiest stuff I have I have seen in a very long time. It was terrible.
Yeah, yeah, it was pretty bad.
But yeah, that the terrible didn't stop there. Certainly. There was a lot to dislike about those movies. Yeah, they were so like it was just sloppy in their storytelling. We got a new version of Supergirl who was of course covered from head to toe
Wait,
in
wait, wait
her
a second.
suit. Yeah.
Tomahawk 511 said Christian Bale was supposed to cameo at the end instead of George.
I
I
had heard
have a
that
f
they had several different people that they wanted to cameo. Yeah.
I don't think that Christian Bale would ever show up on set for this. I could
Nope.
be wrong.
No.
Anything is possible, I guess. But for some reason, I feel like I would be shocked if Christian Bale was supposed to be there because it seems like he would just refuse to be involved in this.
Bale seems like the kind who would have said, "No, I'm done with that role. I'm not coming. I'm not going to be have anything to do with it. I'm done."
I mean, the truth
He would
is,
just pick up and walk away.
and that's exactly what he did. I don't know if the rumor is true. After the Dark Knight Rises, when they were going to do the Batman versus Superman, rumor has it that initially the studio at least, really lobbied for Bale to be a part of this, and uh, I don't know if the rumors are true. They offered him like $50 million or something insane just to do this thing, and he's like, "No, I'm not going to do it. Like, not for any money. I can't do it. Nobody will take me seriously as an actor." Blah blah blah. Although later he appeared in that stupid Thor: Love and Thunder movie, he may
Yeah,
as well could have just taken the money between you and me, Professor.
yeah. Honestly, he was the only thing to like in Thor: Love and Thunder. His performance and that character are a great character, and I thought he did well with it. It was just that the whole rest of the movie was such a joke. It was just nonstop stupidity from Taika Waititi and, trying to make every last little line some sort of one-liner, everything's a punchline. You get the ridiculous looking, Jane Thor with her fake CGI arms and stuff, like, it was man, it was so silly. It was so dumb.
I'm gonna tell you a secret. I think that I never finished that movie. No, I'm serious. I think that I
Yeah,
put it on. I don't think that I even wanted to go to see it in the theater, which is rare because like saw every MCU movie in the theater. And then for some reason, maybe I just felt that this was going to be crappy. Something about the muscles and the thing and the Lady Thor, all of it. Maybe I just was busy too. And maybe I thought I would go, but everybody immediately said it was like the worst. So at the end, I feel like I waited, and it was the only MCU movie. Like all the other ones I saw in the theater, even the worst ones, every single
yeah.
one of them. And I think Thor: Love and Thunder, I waited. Then it came out on streaming or whatever it was, and I watched it. Fell asleep in the middle, and I just didn't even feel I couldn't be bothered to, like, go back and finish the movie.
Yeah, it was an incredible mess of a film, and the again, no narrative weight to anything. It's just one joke to another, and how many times can we make Thor the punchline and make him act like an idiot? They had constant stupid stuff that they threw in with the screaming goats, and then making him naked in front of everyone in Mount Olympus, and it was just so pointless as a film. And the thing is, the character of Gore the God Butcher and getting someone like Christian Bale to play him could have been a really solid, very dramatic story about this guy who's lost absolutely everything and is then imbued with this power to actually take revenge on the people that he blames for his tragic life, to go out and kill these gods. We could have seen something that was a very, very different, very dramatic film, and instead was just this ridiculous stupid joke fest. And I am not one that hates on the previous Thor film. Uh, when that came out, I didn't mind it. I know there's a lot of people that hate that movie because they say, "Well, Taika Waititi did it, and it's so silly, and it makes Thor the punchline." I was okay with that one because Thor was the fish out of water, right? Thor was the fish out of water. It made things a huge mess. And it was okay that he was kind of sort of lost in this story. And yeah, it had a more comedic tone, and I didn't mind because I honestly felt that the previous Thor films had been a little too stodgy and dull. And so I know what they were going for in some of those, but especially the second one, it was so dull, so boring. So to mix it up and do something a little different with the third film was something fun, and I didn't mind it. I still think Ragnarok is a pretty fun film. I don't mind them taking a more comedic turn with Thor. I know there are a lot of people out there, a lot of fans
No,
who
no,
hated the jokey Thor. I know
y
that that's
y you
the
know
case.
what? You know what? As a one-off, it was an
Exactly.
interesting thing to explore.
Exactly. As a
They learn
one-off.
they learned the wrong lessons from it. Instead of understanding that they did a one-off and they did even, if you read comic books, sometimes there could be something of a different tone or something like that. That could happen. And for one movie to do that, especially maybe after the Dark World that not everybody connected with. I didn't hate the Dark World. I didn't hate Ragnarok, honestly. I didn't hate any of the movies, but I feel like they took the wrong lesson. They're like, "Oh, he's goofy and people like that. Let's make him even goofier and let's make all the women tell him what to do now." And it was just like a perfect storm of their stupid propaganda shit. Sorry, Sean, along with
Yep.
learning the wrong lesson. And that's how we got Thor Love and Thunder.
Yeah. Well, they the Ragnarok was a huge hit, so they thought, "Hey, let's just give the reins to old Taika Waititi and let him go crazy." And that was exactly the wrong thing to do. It turned into a mess. And again, I think Ragnarok by itself, if that were just sort of a funny sort of adventure, and yeah, it's a little jokey, a little out there, I think that would have been fine. If they had come back with the third film and done something again dramatic, tragic, really, really delivered on, the tragedy of what Gore had experienced in his life and why he was on this quest to kill all the gods, and think about how that affects Thor and his, his family, his friends that are also, that are part of this, pantheon of gods out there in the world, and actually spend some time thinking about what their role is in guiding, not just humanity, but other, societies out there if they're going to present themselves as gods. There could have been some really interesting dramatic stuff done with that, but instead we just get screaming goats. So, yeah,
Yeah, it
it
was
was a
very
t
stupid. And like I said, I watched maybe two-thirds of that movie. I just fell asleep at some point, never bothered.
Well, you
And
missed the worst part of the film because the ending was an absolute atrocity because Thor, uh, suddenly exhibits powers he's never shown before. Apparently, he can give other people his powers. He can imbue them with the powers of Thor.
I
And who does
remember, I
and who
remember there
does he
was
give
some.
the powers to? Children.
Yes, yes. I know that there's something like that. I think I already knew this going into it, and maybe at some point I couldn't take it anymore. The movie was awful. I've seen other bad Marvel movies, like you think of the Marvels or some of those other ones or Eternals. But the thing with Thor: Love and Thunder that bothered me maybe more than those movies is that I really liked the character of Thor, and I thought that Chris Hemsworth did a really good job at portraying that character, and the amount of making him look stupid in this movie just annoyed me. You know what I mean?
Oh,
It's
yeah,
worse than just
absolutely.
a shitty Marvel
Absolutely.
movie.
Yeah, and I think, that Chris Hemsworth was pretty put off by it too. He's been, very iffy about saying he ever wanted to return to the role just because, he felt like he was treated very badly. His character was treated poorly in that film, and the truth is that he is part of that cast of characters that we got in the early MCU
He's an
where
OG character.
we
He's
got
an
we
OG
got
Avenger, yeah.
yes, well, we got some incredibly well cast actors to play these roles, embody these roles, and he embodied Thor, and he did a great job with it. Not only did he look the part, but he was acting the part. He did really well as that character, and a lot of people loved him
He was
as
great.
that
I mean, when you
character.
think of the original Avengers, Robert Downey Jr., slam dunk. Chris
Yeah,
Evans, outside of that role, he could be criticized, but I think he was good as Captain America. Have
sure.
no issue with him in the role. I think he did great there. Um, Hawkeye, I think that Jeremy Renner was good casting. Scarlett Johansson, Black Widow, all that stuff was good. The only one that's kind of like, kind of iffy is Mark Ruffalo.
Well,
It
yeah.
didn't bother me as
Bleh.
much when I watched those movies because he walked around less telling people his views every second. But even then, I mean, if I thought to myself, like in comparison to Edward Norton is a better actor than Mark Ruffalo. I don't know if he was so good for Hulk. That's still something that I kind of am on the fence about. But I think
Yeah,
he's a really good actor. He's
he
better than
is.
Mark Ruffalo. Mark Ruffalo, just in person, he's not smart. So it's hard to believe that he, like, anytime I see him in a movie and I know how stupid he is, like, and he starts talking about something scientific, I don't believe he understands what he's saying. Like, I know how awful that sounds, but like, also if you look in his eyes, there's this like dopey look on his face because he's kind of stupid. And I know this is terrible. I feel terrible for saying this, but I look at him and he looks like he's kind of dumb,
Yeah.
and I can't buy him. Like now in any movie, if like suddenly he's like this like smart detective, I'm like, nah, I don't believe this guy. This guy's an idiot.
No,
Like he
not
can't
at
solve
all.
this crime.
No. You want to see some derpy looks on his face? You want to see some derpy looks? You go get some of the pictures of him with Mom Donnie celebrating socialism's triumph in New York. It's rather hilarious.
I told you once that I actually I didn't say anything to him. This was in New York. He was, to be fair, also he was with his family. I didn't, and at the time, I didn't know he said a lot of stupid things. This was more in the Avenger days. I was walking in New York. It was some park or something, and he was with his family, and kind of, I saw him. He was standing sort of at a reasonable distance from me, and I think we even saw each other for a second. Not that he knows who I am, and I only know who he is. But all I can say is that even in person, he had that kind of dopey look. That's all I can say. But I didn't say anything. He was with his family. Didn't say a word. Just walked by.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm,
yeah.
yeah.
By the way, you missed some strange conversations the last few times. I don't know if you caught up with any of it,
I
but
got to tune into some of them. Yeah.
I now somewhat regret there was some story I shared about J.J. Abrams, and I kind of regret that I gave so much info about it. Probably shouldn't have, but it was a late hour.
Yeah.
And I also did something stupid. Oh, I before I forget, I guess I have to do a little bit of like an apology. Uh,
Oh my.
so what happened was, one stream I was saying something about Dustin Hoffman or whatever it was, and how they canceled him because some lady said some stuff, and I was just speculating. And after the stream, Six sent me some article to look at that provided context in one of those things that I was talking about. And then later, she was on the stream, but she had to go at some point, and then it was already towards the end of the stream where I was especially tired. And I brought that thing up, and I brought up that Six sent me an article, and I started like sort of critiquing the article, talking about it. The only thing that I hadn't realized it is that I was talking about a different article. Meaning, she sent me one article. I then like decided to do more research, and I read a completely different article. So I was talking about a different article that had nothing to do with her, and it's kind of it was sort of unprofessional of me, and also it's not nice. Six was trying to help with some research and do something positive, but somehow, unintentionally, inadvertently, I came out like looking like a bit of a douche. You know what I'm saying?
Well, the important thing is you're big enough to admit that you were a douche.
I
And
am big
because
enough
this
to admit it.
happens. This happens sometimes.
It,
We've
it
all
was
been
it,
we've
it
all
was
been douchey from time to time.
You know what? It was an accident, because the thing is, hey, lovely Sherry. The thing is that it was really late at night, and I know it's not an excuse, but it was already getting late, and there were a few articles. I was looking in one article, was the other article. On the surface, I can understand how I made the mistake, but later on, when it turned out that I just kind of messed everything up, then I did feel bad about it. So just wanted to say that. Uh, I have a feeling like Six won't even listen to this. So like, never hear from her again. But if she happens to listen to it, I apologize, Six. I did confuse between the different articles. That happens sometimes at a late hour, and I take full responsibility for it. At least that's the least I can do, Professor, is to say that I made a mistake, take full responsibility for. Uh, the Dead Man says that he prefers Norton Hulk as a character because he was channeling the 70s Hulk. For me, by the way, Bill Bixby is the best Banner. That is the best. Like I always say this, that I think that him and Lou Ferrigno gave a better Hulk experience than let's say Mark Ruffalo, because Mark Ruffalo, it's built on a lot of CGI. I know that maybe it's primitive to have like two dudes doing it the way they did it, but you know what? As a kid, that was and with the technology they had, what they did with that series was great. I absolutely loved it. I loved the way that Bill Bixby would his eyes would become like different, and then he's upset and he turns into Lou Ferrigno. Love it. I know it's like so lo-fi. If we watch it today, we'll probably chuckle. It's like the worst effects you can think of in the history of effects, and yet still I love it. And I would take that over Mark Ruffalo. Edward Norton is just, he made a mistake because he's sort of, I suppose, a somewhat difficult guy. And what he needed to do was he needed to play ball, but he was like, "Oh, I can be in the Avengers, but only if I can have like a final, inspection of the script." And he started giving all these demands. It was kind of dumb. I don't know what. Also, when he did the Incredible Hulk, when he didn't want to promote it, it's all stuff that like you don't want to do that. You know, so sometimes in entertainment, people remember shit. You know what I mean?
Hmm. Yeah.
They don't forget stuff like that. In my past, I've told you before that there were times that I would actually book talent for events and things like that. And sometimes, and I've told you stories like this before, you'd have an artist that's very difficult. And a lot of the times I would try, in whatever moments I got to speak to them or their management, I tried to explain to them that if word got out that this artist was just impossible and nobody could deal with them, especially if the artist, isn't number one. Meaning, if he's doing really great in that moment in his career, maybe he can get away with more crap. But the second that there's a kind of dip, even a little bit, you'll see people very quickly remember how this guy was difficult and they don't want to work with him.
Mm.
Do you get what I'm saying?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And I even had situations that I worked with, like a few people that were sort of one hit wonders. They had like one hit on the radio and they're walking around like they're so great and they're the best thing that ever happened. And I'm thinking to myself, man, I didn't want to say this to them. I didn't go as far as to say this to them, although I should have. I should have said what I thought. There were a few occasions that I wanted to take one of them and just say, "Listen, right now you have some song that a few people are listening to. Within a month, nobody's going to give about you a shit about you or your stupid song, and you're not going to get any work, and nobody's going to want to talk to you. And all of the people that may have paid some kind of attention to you and maybe given you some extra work, they're not going to ever want to see you again because you're an asshole." But I didn't say it. There were moments that I really wanted to say it, Professor, but I didn't because I'm a professional. Take what I
Hmm.
do seriously.
Absolutely. He's a pro.
Anyhow, I don't know how we got to all of this. Why? Because the Article 6, I don't know how we got here.
Yeah. Yeah. You were talking about the
It's okay. Sorry,
apologizing to
guys.
Six for the mixed up article that you were talking about the other day.
So yeah, I guess like we can do like a quick. I don't know. I already put him in the thumbnail. We can talk. Okay, yeah. Trump is selecting a new Fed chair. Now, I have told you this from the day that he arrived. I told you this for a long time that I don't like that Jerome Powell guy. I've been consistent. I told you that
Hmm.
like I'm not pretending to be Mr. Finance and all that stuff, but that guy from day one, I could tell that like in order to help Biden, he tried to do all this stuff with the economy prior to the election. Once Trump gets in office, doesn't want to lower rates, doesn't want to do anything, just sits around like some kind of, in my opinion, jerk from that day. And he just does that over and over again. Now, sometimes you can say, well, he has his own reasons, like there's solid reasons. But, when I saw what he did for Biden and then how he was the opposite, it kind of he didn't give me this feeling of credibility, this Jerome Powell guy, for me
Hmm.
personally.
Yeah.
Hey, Marla. I don't know if you like him. I'm just saying that the guy didn't build credibility
No.
with me. I know that Trump can sometimes be like, over the top with his explanation and names and all name calling and all that stuff, but I will say that the guy was just stubborn and it seemed like at some points that he just wanted to be stubborn for the sake of being stubborn. Uh I personally don't have a good feeling about him. How do you feel about this Jerome Powell guy?
Oh, no, I've never been a huge fan. I do think he's establishment, kind of guy. That doesn't necessarily mean he's bad. That you can have establishment guys who really do, say, look, here's the rules, here's how we follow them, whatever. But it absolutely looked like he had been playing favorites. It's hard to ignore that. And that potentially had, yes, pushed for changes at the time that would benefit, Biden, benefit Harris, rather than over Donald Trump, right? So that kind of thing seems really sketchy. If he is supposed to be presenting himself as, no, I'm objective. I'm looking at this. I'm looking at these numbers. Looking at whatever, that they were willing to push for that when the economy really wasn't doing as well as it had been, later on, once Trump was in office, and saying, no, it's still, whatever. It's like, but you cut it back then, but you're not willing to do it now. It all just seems very suspect, right?
Right.
And there's a lot of other things other people have said, a variety of different things about him and some of his choices and the way that he runs the Fed. There was the controversy of him, wanting to, make improvements to the Fed's facilities to the tune of what, several $billions, right? And they said, what? No, you know, no. So yeah, it looks like now Trump is looking at a gentleman named Kevin Hassett
Yeah, I have a video.
as
First
the
of all,
his most likely candidate. Yeah,
let's start. First of all, I see a super chat from the dead man, and I just want to highlight it
yeah.
for a second, and then I have the clip ready, so we'll do that as well. Let me, full of technology here.
Only the best technology here
Only the
at
best
Price of
technology
Reason
is the night
Studios.
owl. I tried to share it here. Why is it not sharing,
Oh,
Professor?
presentation mode. Yeah.
I tried presentation mode. I think I'm gonna have to do
Ah,
the thing where I
drop
disappear. Hold
drop out. I'll see you again. Second. Yep. Oh, and now's the part where he tells me to tell some jokes. So yeah, jokes. I'm telling jokes while Price comes back.
on. Okay, I think I'm,
Uh
and I
oh,
think
okay.
shot. Okay, we did it. The Dead Man 79. Here's for the Beefaroni Fund and also the Leslie Headland Fund. Every gift begins with K. That's funny. Yeah, I haven't seen Nick in a while. I haven't been able to tell him about his obsession with Beefaroni for a while. I really like Nick. I don't know how. I don't know. I feel like I need to catch up with him sometime. It was nice having CC karaoke here. That was kind
Yeah.
of, a nice thing. I like CC. Also, it's the Phobos. Thank you. He also was here in your absence in six, and yeah, those guys.
Yeah, there's a whole damn party going on without me here.
Yeah, it became a full celebration. But even with all of that, I'm happy that we're doing this again. In any case, that's a great 4.99 super chat. The Dead Man, thank you. I will donate this to the Beefaroni Fund and
To the
Leslie Headland. I don't even know what the Leslie Headland Fund does. I
it buys drinks
I wonder if
for
she knows
Leslie.
that, like, because she sat next to me at a bar decades ago, there's people talking about that thing like an international incident nonstop. Like it'll never stop. The stupidest thing, all because of Melvin, because he clipped that stupid thing. What ended up being something, I think, just talking to myself, uh, just funny. Yeah, the internet is a strange place.
It is, yes.
So
That it is.
that was the Dead Man, and we always appreciate you. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate it. And then let me look if I can pull up that video that I wanted to show you of Trump sort of hinting who his next Fed chair will be.
Being it's a great group, and I guess a potential being it's a great group, and I guess a potential Fed chair is here too. I don't know. Are we allowed to say that? Potential. He's a respected person, that I can tell you. Thank you, Kevin. Being it's a great group, and I guess a potential Fed chair is here too. I don't know. Are we allowed to say
So he was talking about Kevin
it's a
Hassett,
great group?
Yeah.
kind of mumbling, but yeah, he was talking about uh, Kevin Hassett. And the thing is, Kevin Hassett is very, if I understand correctly, crypto friendly. So that I think helped the market recover a bit because, during the Biden
Yeah.
administration, they were kind of trying to do everything to you know, put a monkey wrench into that whole crypto thing. Trump has been more friendly towards that. So
Mhm.
I guess saying that he's considering this guy for the next Fed chair
Yeah.
made a lot of people optimistic.
He's well known in conservative circles as an economist, as an academic. He has previously served on the Federal Reserve Board. He has taught at Columbia and NYU. Uh, he worked as a researcher at a number of different think tanks, leading various different economic policies, writing articles talking about taxation, energy, investment, all sorts of different stuff. He's well known. He served as an advisor to multiple different campaigns on the Republican side, including Bush, McCain, Romney. He served, worked in those campaigns to help to form policy. He also is, somebody who's frequently commenting on stuff out there, in writing articles and things for outlets like the National Review and even Bloomberg. So he's very vocal. He's out there. He's talking about different policies. He's worked with Trump before. He served as chairman of the Council of Economic Advisors when Trump was in his first term. And then he also spent some time helping advising economic policy during COVID-19. Not that that went all that well, but okay. Uh, and he did work on during the reelection, during Trump's second campaign here for the his most recent election. He worked some with the campaign as an economic advisor and so on. So yeah, he's very well known in conservative circles, and he's very well respected. He's certainly somebody who it at least seems on the surface would work very well in this role. Not only does he already have an established relationship with Donald Trump, he has an established relationship with a lot of other conservatives. They know where he stands. They know, what his different policies are. And he has said so far that, were he asked, he would be willing to serve as Fed chair. So, this definitely looks like something potentially we would be seeing in the new year. I don't know exactly when the current uh, when the current head of the Fed
I think it's May. I think it's
goes
May
out. Yeah, I was gonna say I
2026.
think it's sometime in the middle of the year.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
couldn't couldn't happen soon enough.
May 2026. Yeah, Jerome Powell leaves. His term ends in May. So,
To
yeah.
be fair, though, Trump himself appointed that guy, and I don't really know why he did that. I mean, this guy was not a good guy. I don't know why Trump appointed him.
Well, he was appointed during his first term, right? So,
That's true.
when in Trump's first term, there were a lot of things that he was trusting other people to deliver on. And they were coming in and telling him, "Oh, pick this person, that person, whatever." And a lot of the advice that he was getting was all about picking people who were insiders, and a lot of that advice was bad advice. It was the same kind of usual, you know, the, the usual Washington stuff where you pick your buddy, you pick the insider guy, you do whatever. So he was taking a lot of advice because he was new to this whole thing. He was new to being a politician. He was new to all of this. And so there were a lot of people that he trusted to give him advice, to help him, to pick different, roles, pick, nominate people for different things that, in hindsight, I'm certain that he recognizes that he was being duped and he was being played, which is why, during his first term, you remember he was quite often shoving people out, getting rid of people, because he was really starting to recognize that that he had allowed a lot of establishment people to come in and sort of sabotage what what he was trying to do. And so that's why his second term has looked very different from his first term in a lot of ways, is that he has not come into this thinking that everyone with an R in front of their name is his best friend. And
That's true. That's
he's
true. I will
definitely
say
been a lot
it
more
is a
choosy.
different vibe. When I think of the chaos of the first one, that, like you said, every 5 minutes he was firing somebody, he was getting annoyed all the time. I mean, he still gets annoyed, but it's not the same thing. I feel like this time he chose people that he intended to keep around as a team. Not saying that it can't be that he'll ever remove anybody or fire anybody, but it's not it's not the same thing that it was in the first term.
Mm-mm. Not at all. Not at all. He is he's kicking ass and taking names. He knows this time around, he knows a little bit more about the machine. He knows a little bit more about who he ought to be trusting and who he shouldn't. And so he's come into this with a very different approach to to what he had in his first term. And that's why I think he's already been as effective as he has. Now he's got the people that he wants in place, or at least mostly he does, and he's made sure to start executing on a lot of the plans that he has as early as possible. And then he knows, he's expected, I think, from the start that he's going to have to face all sorts of judicial challenges and so on. But he's got people behind him that are, trying to make sure that what he's doing is, in line with, with precedent and so on, so that as much as possible, when these, court decisions, we've got all these activist judges that keep trying to shut everything down, try to tell the president what powers he has, what powers he's allowed to actually use. And eventually all of this is going to come through the courts. And it, like has already happened with a number of these decisions, when it reaches these higher courts, they are going to have to say, sorry, he's the executive. He gets to make decisions like this. He gets to, you can't tell somebody who works for the federal government they're guaranteed a job. The president runs the executive branch. The executive branch gets to decide who serves at the pleasure of the president. That's exactly how that works. So you can't say that everyone who works for the federal government, their job is secure and no one can ever fire them, right? There's a lot of these decisions that are slowly going to make their way through the courts, and eventually, in a lot of these cases, a lot of these judges are going to be shut down. But so far, that hasn't mattered, because a lot of these judges still keep doing it. They've been told basically you can't put these universal injunctions in place. They still keep doing it. They still keep throwing these out there, trying to basically make law from the bench, and not even from the Supreme Court, right? Just from some random federal judges out there. And so this just is continuing on, but we'll see how quickly they can manage to wrap some of this stuff up.
Oh, I wanted to share this other thing that he was saying about Elon Omar today. Did you hear this?
Mm-hmm.
Did you hear it, Professor?
Oh, it's very loud. Yes.
No, I mean, did you hear the thing from today? Did you see
No,
this?
I haven't heard it.
And they contribute nothing. The welfare is like 88%. They contribute nothing. I don't want them in our country, I'll be honest with you. Okay? Somebody would say, oh, that's not politically correct. I don't care. I don't want them in our country. Their country's no good for a reason. Their country stinks, and we don't want them in our country. I can say that about other countries too. I can say it about other countries too. We don't want them the hell. We have to rebuild our country. You know, our country's at a tipping point. We could go bad. We're at a tipping point. I don't know if people mind me saying that, but I'm saying it. We could go one way or the other, and we're going to go the wrong way if we keep taking in garbage into our country. Ilhan Omar is garbage. She's garbage. Her friends are garbage. These aren't people that work. These aren't people that say, let's go, come on, let's make this place great. These are people that do nothing but complain. They complain. And from where they came from, they got nothing. You know, they came from paradise and they said, this isn't paradise. But when they come from hell and they complain and do nothing but bitch, we don't want them in our country. Let them go back to where they came from and fix it. Thank you very much, everybody.
Mr. President, has Maduro offered to leave?
Did you hear that, Professor?
Yes, yeah. That's
I mean, I'll tell you this. You know, maybe there's a way to word what he says in a way that's a little more presidential than the way he says it, but I guess he doesn't like doing that, and he's not going to start doing that now. I don't generally disagree with his idea that people that come here and hate this place, then, you know, why do they want to be here if they hate it so much? And I absolutely, that kind of thing bothers me about like Ilhan Omar all the time, because she came to this country, and we're not even going to go into all that other weird stuff that she did with, you know, that people are always saying with her marriages and divorce and all that weird stuff. But all she does is sit here and say how much like she hates America or how much America is bad. And it's like, yeah, I mean, I kind of agree with him. Maybe I wouldn't have said it that way, but she did come from a place that everything was tough. Supposedly, this is, you know, if you think about it, this is better. How did she come here and decide she hates this
exactly.
place?
Yeah, there's so many of these. You know, it's not just Somalis. There's plenty of other different ethnic groups, people from other countries who come here and say this kind of crap. But yes, we get this all the time. We hear these people who have literally immigrated from another country to the U.S. now telling us that, well, this country sucks and it's broken and we hate the U.S. You know, death to the United States kind of crap. It's like, if you're so miserable here, just like Trump said, go back. If you know how to make a paradise, go back to your country and do it. Go back and contribute to Somalia or wherever. Go make that country a paradise. Let's see how well it works out for you. Let's see if you can, go make this into your, socialist paradise that you're demanding, right? Because the truth is that what you want is not what you actually want. What you want, or what you're saying you want, is not what you're actually going to get. I don't know. They're saying, well, we're supposed to get all this free stuff. We're supposed to get all of these benefits and all these things, and we're supposed to be perfectly tolerated. You're supposed to give us everything and do exactly what we say. And if you don't, then you're terrible people. And okay, great. Go, you know what? We're terrible. Okay, that's fine. Go back to Somalia. Go back over there, make that your country, make that this paradise that you're dreaming of, and leave us alone. Let us have our terrible country. You go back to your amazing country that you love so much.
Right, exactly. I mean, it's such hypocrisy. Elizabeth Quinn says, "LOL, don't get Kenyans started on Somalis." I think I don't know enough about the geopolitical tensions there, but I believe what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
In any case, yeah, I mean, it also reminds me of those students that came here and they come on some kind of student visa, and then they're walking around and like they hate America and all this stuff. Nobody's forcing you to come study here. If you hate this place, go study somewhere else. Like, why are you you're coming here? No, we have a right to whatever. No, and I agree that when it happened, all these people were like shocked. They're like, how dare they revoke their student thing, like, and tell them to go away. And then at the time, I actually thought it was a really good moment for Marco Rubio, was just saying like, listen, they're guests in this country. You can't come to this country to be a student and be a guest here and then say how much you hate it. We don't need people like that. And I kind of agree with that.
Mhm.
I don't know what that says about me, but yeah, I mean, if you're just here to say how much you hate it, then you don't have to be here.
Yep. What they want is to be able to freely scam billions of dollars off of the federal government, to gather all the welfare and all the free healthcare and all of that stuff, and they want to do that without being challenged or anybody telling them that they need to contribute to society or anything like that, right? We have all of these Somalis that in Minnesota who've been involved with this huge fraud ring that has stolen billions of taxpayer dollars, and some of it being traced back to, being given to Al Shabaab, right? One of the bad groups in Somalia. They have been involved in that scam, and then there's a whole bunch of other stuff potentially that they've been involved in. It's yeah, it's interesting because I've seen there's some stories of some of the Somalis that are here saying, no, we're this is this is our place now. We're gonna fight for the America. They're gonna fight for America, the America they apparently hate. But anyway, they're gonna fight, for America, whatever. Uh, and then there's others. There's a movement inside some of the Somali community to say, no, we want to go home. This country sucks. They hate us and they don't want us here. So we're going to leave. We're going to go home. It's like, great. Can we help buy your ticket? Like, just don't come back. Right.
Right. I
Go.
mean, listen,
We've already had people in the chat saying, make Somalia great again. Right.
yeah, I mean, I usually like to stop short of just making generalization. I haven't met every Somali person, but
No.
it does seem like a lot of them came here for whatever strange reasons, and they don't seem to really be uh, blending in or whatever you want to call it. Like they seem, a lot of them, to just you know either not like the place and things like that. If they're not citizens here and they don't like the place, well, they don't have to be here. I I understand that Trump's way of expressing it may be a bit. Uh, I don't know how to describe it, but yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, every time you bring a ton of people here and you say, here, you can be here, and you just dump them in all these like cities and towns and whatever, it causes stress on the towns, on the economy, on a lot of different things. And at the end, to have a lot of these people that you're bringing not even want to be here or like it here, then really, what's the point of it all? So, I mean, if I were asked to explain it, I would have said something more like that. Trump went for the full on garbage thing. And then at the end, he sounded like he was like, he sounded worse than me at the end. He's worse than us in the middle of the night. He's like, all these people want to do is complain and bitch. They're garbage. They should leave. He doesn't like. I think that at this point, Trump just like doesn't even care about anything. Like, he just, there's not even like a hint of him trying to mellow or finesse anything that he says, I guess.
No. No. It's yeah. It's interesting.
It is interesting. There was something else. I now I forgot what it was. Let me try to find it. Um, so we talked about the next Fed share. We talked about this thing with Elon Omar. Oh, and there was one other thing. There's something. Did you see this thing that he shared? This is another thing that he said that there was some program with children. Did you see
Children?
this?
No.
Did I share it, or am I not even sharing the right one?
I'm seeing the super chats.
Okay.
There we go.
Okay. I'm going to play this.
Today is Giving Tuesday. I don't know if anybody's heard that one before, but it is indeed Giving Tuesday, one of the biggest days of the year for philanthropy and charitable giving. And this afternoon, Michael and Susan Dell are committing to one of the largest private donations in American history, which will directly benefit the next generation of American children through the new Trump Accounts program that we created in our One Big Beautiful Bill. And Michael and Susan came to see me along with Brad, and they said, this is an idea. And I said, I think, it sounded just so good and so unique. But that's why he's been so successful, and they've been so successful in life and in business because they're unique. Trump Accounts will be the first, I guess you could say, real trust funds for every American child, allowing family members, employers, corporations, generous donors to contribute money that will be invested and grow over the course of a child's life to be used for their benefit after they turn 18. So in other words, these are children that are going to, an investment's going to be made. That investment's going to continue to grow, we hope, right? We hope. And, but it will. And they'll feel like Michael Dell someday.
What do you think of this idea of this $1,000 thing when they're born and the investment? Do you think there's any? Do you think that this is a viable thing?
But
it is as far as like making investments for for young kids to try and make sure that they've got some money that's saved for them that they can use later on. Is it done the best way? Not so much. I've already read a little bit into this and how they've got it set up. Essentially, it gets put back and then it's held for children until they're 18 years old. And then they're able to withdraw from that. At that time, though, it rolls directly into an IRA, essentially, which means that if they're going to withdraw from it, then they have to pay taxes out of it. There's already other types of savings accounts for kids that you could set up that wouldn't require that money to be you know what I mean? Like the money wouldn't be taxed when you withdrew from it. So it's kind of strange. It's a cool idea. Like the government's just going to say, hey, we're going to put some money back and whatever. And then we've got donors that are coming in saying, we're going to give a bunch of money to this. It's an interesting idea, but maybe not the best way of doing it.
So you think that there's merit here, but you're not really excited about the execution.
Yeah. It just depends on obviously how this money is handled. I haven't actually looked into. I'm guessing that it's handled by a fund of some kind. It's not simply just a savings account where it's getting standard compound interest. But I don't actually know all the details of what's happening.
Let's see if he says more.
A lot more money than they would have had, and potentially a lot of money. But these accounts will track the overall stock market and will be 100% private property controlled by the child's guardians. In honor of America's 250th anniversary, the Dells are announcing today that they are giving 25 million American children $250 each to save and to invest in their personal Trump account. Now, that's the equivalent of $6.25 billion. In other words, to put it succinctly, Michael and Susan are giving $6.25 billion in total. And as a total contribution, that's big stuff. I don't care who you are. That's big. Come here, give me a hand. Let me have a little of that luck rub off. That's fantastic, Susan. These gifts will be available to the first 25 million children aged 10 and under the zip codes where their median income is $150,000 or less. Today
I mean, it sounds interesting on the surface. I wonder how it's all gonna play out.
Yeah. So as he was saying, it's going to track the stock market. So it's indexed, against the wider stock market. I was just looking up a little bit while we were listening to that. So the Trump accounts are a new tax advantage investment account for children created under recent federal law and branded as part of the president's one big beautiful bill, meant to function somewhat like an IRA for kids, seeding every eligible child with government money and allowing additional private contributions that grow tax deferred until adulthood. So they're tax deferred. That means that there's no taxes on them over time, but once you withdraw from them, there are taxes against that money. It's a federal child savings account that's held in investments, typically low cost index funds for minors until they reach the age of 18. The accounts will be administered by the Treasury and the IRS under their rules and are intended, the purpose of them is to support long term goals for kids. So, help pay for education, help give them a start in home ownership or launching a business, or even holding that money until retirement if they want to. They can continue to hold that and can continue to let it grow, in a standard or more standard Roth IRA for a more extended period of time. So under the law, basically, this is, as he said, private property. This is not something that can be tapped by the federal government. Now, could the federal government under a different administration change that law? Sure, they absolutely could. And then they could decide they want to take that money for themselves and do what they want with it. But yeah, no telling where this goes. Really interesting though that Michael Dell and his wife interested in putting in a large sum of money. Initially, I think this was the idea. That not only this would be, there would be some money that would be kicked in by the federal government, but this would be a place where potential donors could come in and say, you know what, I'm retiring, or I'm breaking up my fortune because I'm old and I'm going to
Well,
die, or I'm
well,
going to leave some money to this as part of part of where their money goes after they're
th they
gone.
have they have a net worth of like $150 billion.
Yeah,
So I don't know if Elizabeth Quince was saying that's a tax write-off for them, or she meant something else.
I think
But
that's what Elizabeth is saying. That for
right,
them,
I
this is
mean,
just a tax write-off. Yeah,
when you
it's
have like
something that they can donate. Yeah.
right, when they have 150 million, I'm sure some accountant sat with them and said, "Hey, if you donate 6 billion, everybody's going to say how great you are, and it helps with our accounting here." That's my suspicion. I don't want to be mean. It is a nice gesture, but go on. Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, no, as pretty much where I was going with it. Just that we have a lot of uh there's a lot of wealthy people out there who have a lot of money, and when they are gone, they want to put it somewhere that's going to make a difference. I think that saying, hey, you could give money that's going to get distributed to millions of kids and help give them a start on a better life later on, I think that sounds pretty generous. That sounds like a
There
pretty
could be
cool
something.
way to do that.
Mars Monkey Max is saying there has to be more going on there. So here's a theory that I'm floating. I have no evidence, and it's just a strange speculation. But think to yourself, you're Michael Dell, and you do a lot of business. Sometimes also you bring parts from different countries. Sometimes there may be strange tariffs or whatever it is. Now imagine that you're buddy buddy with Trump. You took something that could have been like a tax write-off, like Elizabeth Quinn said. You gave the 6 million. Everybody claps and says how great you are. The next time some weird shit goes down, Michael Dell calls Trump and says, "Hey, can you help me with this? There's some kind of issue here." And Trump makes a few phone calls, and suddenly those problems or whatever it is, bureaucracy, is either expedited, goes away, or problems that existed suddenly disappear. I'm not saying that tomorrow morning this will happen, but generally speaking, it's probably there's something going on here that everybody benefits from, if you know what I'm saying.
It's entirely possible. I mean,
But I don't
it's
mind it. I mean, sure. I mean, I have no issue with it. This is the kind of wheeling and dealing that I have no issue with. As far as I'm concerned, all the billionaires can come and throw money into this thing, and if it can help families and do whatever, I don't have an issue with anything. I think that the initiative itself sounds pretty decent. We'll see how the execution is. I do have a lot of questions. What happens, years down the road with the kids and the thing, but generally speaking, it's not a bad idea. I don't hate the idea.
Mhm.
And the final thing, I don't know if you saw this, that suddenly Trump shared a tweet from Rand Paul. Did you see that?
No.
Not shared a tweet, shared a private message. This was so strange. Okay. Can you see this?
Yeah. Okay.
So apparently, Trump shared just on his Truth Social, took a text message from Rand Paul and just posted it. And it says, I know we have been at odds recently, but in your first term, you signed an executive order to legalize association health plans that allow individuals to buy collectively health insurance via Costco, Amazon, or Sam's Club. This collaboration brought us together and still holds the promise of lowering insurance premiums. It did not succeed because Dem AGs fought it in court. We could pass it in Congress today with your help. Why does he keep writing your like he's a schoolgirl? But never mind. It
Yeah.
costs, you know what I'm saying? Like you're talking to the
Yeah.
president.
Sure.
Yeah, it's like kind of silly, but whatever. It costs nothing and simply changes labor law to allow people to buy insurance as a group from retailers. Let me know if this is something you might want to partner on, Rand. And some people thought that maybe he was doing this and just showing that he's open to working with Rand Paul on this and that, he's putting this above whatever pettiness they have. But other people seem to think that this was Trump's way of also showing sort of the two-faced uh, side of Rand Paul, that on one hand, in public, he acts one way, and behind the scenes, he has a different tone that he approaches him with. I don't know which it was. I don't know if Trump wanted to just kind of shine a light on that, or he genuinely wanted to show that he's interested in working with him. For whatever it's worth, I personally, I don't like sharing private DMs, but I don't think you're going to be able to explain that to Trump, and Trump doesn't care. So if you send him a DM, know that it could end up anywhere.
Truth. Yeah, he could just choose to just put you on blast anytime he wants.
I'm sure Rand Paul didn't think that he would actually tweet his message out. Like, I don't know. I wonder what Rand Paul is thinking to himself. He's probably looking at this and doesn't even know how to process or what to do. But that's kind of what Trump just does. He just does whatever he feels like. Like I said, I personally, I think that to date, I don't think I've ever shared a private DM from anybody. The only thing that I would do, and I still didn't even do that, there were a few like haters that wrote me like bad messages, but even that I think to date I didn't even share. Uh, I thought like of those kind of people that complain and start sharing the things and whatever. A few times I got some really mean kind of messages. I just sort of deleted them. I don't. What am I gonna do?
Yeah.
But aside from something like that, uh, I don't really know you know, uh, but whatever. Rand Paul, I've always been sort of ambivalent about the guy to begin with. I don't really know what I think about him, but I guess he's not. I don't really love politicians in general, but somehow Rand Paul is a guy that I never really formulated one opinion or another about. He's not. He seems like he's not my cup of tea. Then again, most of these people, I guess, aren't my cup of tea. So what do I know? Mean
Yeah.
messages from Mark Ruffalo. That's tempting if Mark Ruffalo would send me messages, but even then, maybe I wouldn't say anything. I don't know. There's like there's something not nice about sharing like a private DM. There's two things that I don't like. One, even if you're in a group with a few people and people then like share the DMs, I don't like that, and I also don't like it when it's a private conversation. I think that that's not cool. And yeah, like that story that I've told a few times that I was put in a group that the woman that ran the group that had 50 people there thought that I went on Reddit and I wanted the people on Reddit to know the things that she said in the group. And man, the part that was the dumbest part of this whole story is that I'm going to tell you this now, Professor. The group was on mute because there was so much crap with 50 people sending crap in that group, and most of it was just garbage nonsense, that I think like the group was on mute. Then I would even like go in, try to find something she said, go to Reddit of all places, and then post so that people on Reddit know what this lady said. To think that about me, I feel until today very insulted, Professor. I feel like there's nothing worse than suspecting that that's what you do. It's like if it was something interesting, at least, like if like let's say she suspected that I don't know why she would care, but like, oh, he slept with my best friend, or I don't know. I have no idea what could be like the catalyst for ejecting a person out of a group like that. But if it was at least something spicy and interesting at the end, like me being a spy so that I could talk to people on Reddit about some crap. And it reminded me of like Kramer on Seinfeld. It's like, lady, your stupid messages aren't all that interesting. You know what I mean? Like, nobody gives a shit about the stupid crap that you say in this dumb group that nobody gives a fuck about. Sorry, Sean. So I don't know. How did we get here? I have no idea. But yeah, but at least until today there's a trauma. Like I'm still annoyed that I was removed from that group in the way that I was. But it happens sometimes. The good thing is that after that I never really spoke to her again. And I think that was a good thing. As I kind of zoomed out and look at how things developed later, great that I didn't talk to her anymore. Elizabeth Quinn says narcissists are paranoid about stupid stuff. That is true. In any case, so we covered a lot of Trump stuff. I think we certainly did our Trump things for the day. I don't know if you know this, but I saw a movie that is going to come out. Did you know that?
I did see something that you had an opportunity to see, Fackham Hall.
I saw Fackham Hall. Yes. Uh, sometimes I have these things where you go to a screening and like whatever, and you don't know what movie you're going to see, and they end up showing you something. So I went to it, and they showed Fackham Hall, and I was actually really pleased with it because it was a movie that I wanted to see. Now, I'm wondering, what grade does it have on Rotten Tomatoes? Like, I'm so curious as what they're going to give it. Let's see if I can find it. Fackham Hall. Oh, nobody even gave it a grade. Professor, I'm one of the only people that has seen this. I mean, I'm probably not one of the only people, but there aren't a ton of people that saw it.
Well, it seems like they should be letting you review movies on Rotten Tomatoes price. That's what I
You know
think.
what? You know what? Until today, I don't want to say a bad word. Like, I know those people have not gotten back to me because Rotten Tomatoes had at some point a process that you could submit, documents and certain things like to explain why you would be a good reviewer that they would factor into their score. And I submitted that probably at least, I think, like 9 months ago, maybe 10 months ago. It was a really long time ago. And I never even heard back, nothing. Nobody said a word. And I told you at the time, I didn't even think that they would say, like, I didn't think that they would accept me, but I wanted to see what their rejection letter looked like. And I wasn't even worth the rejection letter. Somebody said, should we send him a rejection letter? Like, no.
That would just waste precious email.
Right, like
digits.
abort.
Yeah.
Don't interact with this man. Do not interact.
Precious bits in our tubes.
They probably checked out like like the channels. They listen to like the Night Owl, and they're like, "That's it. Don't you ever answer this guy. Whatever you do, don't answer him." So, I was thinking.
Looks like the dead man is headed out. I think we had a super chat from him. Do we want to get to that real quick?
Wait, hold on one second. The dead man. Wait 1 second. Let me see if I can find it. No, I think I said both super chats. I
Did
don't.
we?
Wait, did I put the other one on?
I think you put the other one up, but then we jumped to something else, asking about who would play who
I'm so sorry,
in
the dead
Star
man.
Wars.
Sorry
Yeah.
about that. I'm gonna share the right one now. So, Price, cast yourself in R2 in Star Wars. R2 can't be R2D2. Okay. I could be Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Ah, okay. Who do I get to play?
You can decide. You can be
Oh no,
Han
it says you
Solo.
cast. You're supposed to cast.
Oh, okay.
Cast
You can
us
be
both.
Han Solo. You
Okay,
can
yeah,
be
that's cool. Yeah,
you can
I
be
can
Han
do
Solo. I'll be Obi-Wan Kenobi.
I will shoot first. Yeah, just ask my wife.
It sounds it sounds like I'd be a strange Obi-Wan Kenobi. I think I have more of a douchey vibe than Alec Guinness brought to the table, but I could do something. You must do what you feel is right, Luke. You know, I could try a little bit like, you must come with me to Alderaan.
Oh,
Right?
we have a Gooch raid.
Oh, thank you.
Welcome.
That's nice of you, Gooch. Make Gooch great
Yeah.
again. I like Gooch. Gooch is a good guy. I appreciate that.
Gooch doesn't
Gooch
need to be
raid.
made
Thanks,
great again.
Gooch.
He's already great. No need to make him great.
We don't need to make him great again. He's great. Thanks, Gooch. That's really nice of you. He has a solid channel. It's called Diabolical Souls. He's a good guy. And yeah, I like Gooch. And I always grateful for any kind of raids or anything. So thank you very much. Appreciate that, Gooch. And yeah, so The Dead Man, sorry I was late on saying it. Hopefully you still saw it. And yeah, great. You know, I've been gooched. That's cool. Emperor Goodwin, don't try that, Obi-Wan. Sorry, Emperor. Sorry, Jay Goodwin. I tried my best.
When
Tried my best.
to do Obi-Wan, it just comes out like one of the Beatles.
Right. I sounded like Ringo, I guess. But whatever. I tried my best. Yeah.
You gave it your all.
I gave it my all. It could have been worse. Could have been worse. So basically, I saw that movie Fackham Hall. And for those of you that are curious, this movie, did you see the trailer for Fackham Hall?
I sure did. Yeah, I thought it was an interesting trailer. It was definitely something that gave me potentially something to look forward to. I thought that the trailer itself was something kind of interesting, not what I was expecting to see. It obviously, like right up front, it looks a bit like some of these period dramas that they do, that are so popular. And I couldn't care less for any of these shows, right?
I understand.
But when I saw that, it's like, oh yeah, it's going to be one of these period dramas. Oh no, wait, this is getting ridiculous. Oh, okay, so it's a funny thing, yeah. And then I saw some interviews, people trying to sell it as perhaps being the the Naked Gun, version of these period drama pieces. And so that was...
I want to show the trailer for people that didn't see it. So this is the trailer for it. The movie, and I've seen it in an early screening, even though there's no tomato meter, no popcorn meter. I've seen the movie, and basically it hasn't been released in the US yet, and it hasn't been released in England yet. But thankfully, I was able to see an early screening. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show the trailer first. It is sort of a satire on these type of Downton Abbey and different kind of British dramas. And let's just see the trailer.
Well done, Father. England, 1931. Well,
So that's the movie that I saw. And now I'll give you my overall thoughts on it. So the thing is that you could tell I didn't even read any articles about this. I didn't know anything, but the movie was sort of a brainchild of Jimmy Carr, who's an English comedian, and he worked on the script with his brother and these guys called the Dawson brothers. They also do comedy, and in theory, this seemed really promising because it's been a while since we've had a comedy that sort of does things that are a little unconventional. We don't even see a lot of comedies at all. And when I saw the movie, I thought to myself, it looks like he watched stuff like Downton Abbey. It looks like he even watched something like Grantchester, where there's some like either a vicar there or there's some people solving murders, or there's a bunch of things that you see like that come from the BBC and ITV and whatever. And I feel like the movie is heavily inspired by that, but at the same time you could tell that it's also inspired by the Naked Gun type of humor and Airplane. It also is inspired by Monty Python. Now, I didn't know anything. I just later went to research about it. After I think I even wrote my review, what I was going to say in it, I kind of did some Googling, and it turned out that the guy, that this Jimmy Carr guy, he said exactly that. That those were his influences, and that's the movie that he wanted to make. Now, the movie itself, it does have a lot of jokes in it, and sometimes you there's a joke that generally made me laugh, but for every one joke that made me laugh, I felt that there were a lot of ones that kind of were just there. Maybe at times I smiled, maybe at times I chuckled, but I was really hoping this would be like a nonstop laugh, you know, big laughs every second. And I feel like the movie didn't quite deliver on that. The thing is that uh, the thing is that it had a lot of really good ingredients in it. The production is solid. I think they totally recreate the 1930s England vibe that they're trying to go for. I like the cast. I think that Damian Lewis, actually, who I didn't know could do comedy, I thought that his portrayal was good because he kind of knew that he was in a something that's supposed to be dramatic, but there's a hint of satire there, like, or a lot of satire. And I think that he really found the balance of understanding when to be dramatic and when to sort of lean into the jokes. Tom Felton from the Harry Potter series, he's in this also, and I also felt that he did a pretty good portrayal of sort of this like sniveling aristocrat guy. I thought that he was good too. Uh, Jimmy Carr, in my opinion, he's the vicar. And when I saw it, I thought to myself, he's absolutely one of the best parts of this movie. I just wish they did more with that character. Uh, if he really wanted to make this movie better, I think that showing him more and maybe making that character a little more active or doing something, I think there was more to be done there. And that's why I keep saying that I think that there was something that could have been done better than it is. Strong Opinion says British humor is also very dry. It's a niche audience. I agree with you, but you know what? I'm actually the target audience for this. I did grow up watching some Monty Python. I like that. I think that I enjoy that kind of dry humor. So even though I think there were good jokes there, they just weren't all on the same level. And I didn't dislike the movie. I didn't think to myself, "This is the worst movie I've ever seen," but it kind of reminded me of the experience I had with Naked Gun earlier this year. Naked Gun, the reboot, whatever that was, I sat there, I had some laughs here and there, I did chuckle, I smiled, but it wasn't anything like those original, movies, and I felt like, Fackham Hall had a similar issue, that if I look at these kind of classics like a Monty Python or the people that made those kind of Naked Gun movies that this is heavily inspired by, they're not better than they are. They're not better than the influences that created this movie. And Jimmy Carr can be funny, and I think his character was funny, and that's why there was just a feeling of a little bit of a missed opportunity. The other thing, and I said this in my review, which I posted on this my second channel here, and I basically I what was I gonna say? I was reading Liash's thing, a comment. So basically, I remember now. In my review, I said the one thing that I was kind of regretful is that I didn't drink before watching this movie, or that I wasn't in a theater that I can order a beverage. Uh, if I could have had like a pint of Guinness while watching this, I think that it would have gotten me more into the mood of watching it. If you would have given me like a glass of whiskey, and I would have had it while watching this movie, I think I would have been like in a more festive mood. And to add to that, I was in a theater that had a very American audience. I mean, Americans that, in my opinion, are not, yeah, are not familiar with British humor, and I feel like most of those jokes like kind of went over their head. There were some jokes that I said to myself, I have to rewatch this because some things are like blink and you miss it, or visual things that happen quickly that you kind of want to look at again. But I still got like I think the majority of the humor, whereas I think that the people that were there didn't fully get it. And
Yeah.
when you're watching a comedy, at least with The Naked Gun, I was watching it with a full house of people that were more receptive to the jokes. So it seemed a little kind of funnier. It's nice when you're watching a comedy that there's like a full audience and everybody's in a festive mood. So between me not drinking alcohol and the audience being Americans that I don't know that they were really in tune with this humor, it kind of created a very quiet atmosphere that didn't help. And with all that being said,
Yeah.
Lyosh asked if I would give it a 7 out of 10. I think that that is a fair grade to give. And in my review here on this channel, which I actually posted earlier today, that some people have watched, I gave it a 7 out of 10. Now, for those who don't know, this live stream channel that you're listening to, there's my channel for reviews, which is a different channel, and there's this channel for more for live streams. But from time to time, when there's a movie that I feel is a little more indie or a little more niche, I like to post the reviews here because I feel like this channel is more like of a playground where I do all these different things. So if anybody wants to check it out, I did a full review and it's posted here. So you're always welcome to check it out. And yeah, I mean, Strong Opinion says, agreed on Naked Gun. I haven't seen Fackham Hall yet. Comedy has been stalled so much in the last several years that it seems to be a bit atrophied for these first few movies come in. Yeah, I mean, it's so strange to even see a comedy. And that's why, there was a part of me that still appreciated that somebody was like, fuck it, I'm doing a comedy. Like, I do appreciate that. It seems like a minor thing. We used to get so many comedies. The fact that somebody actually put a lot of thought and effort into it, I do appreciate it. And it's not poorly made. It's not like I watched and I thought, "Oh, this is complete crap." I just thought to myself, all the pieces of the puzzle are here to do something better than what we got, and it's kind of a shame that it's not just a bit better. But it is what it is. Elizabeth Quinn says,
Sorry I was muted.
"Oh, it's okay." Elizabeth Quinn says, "Hate period dramas if they don't have the plague or at least fleas can't suspend disbelief." This one is supposed to be like a spoof of all that
Yeah.
stuff. It's
I
making
was
fun of all those kind of dramas, and they're like I said, some of the jokes are hit and miss. Some of them you're just kind of like, some of them you think, well, I've seen this kind of humor before, or I've seen this kind of joke before, and they're not really doing something new. There were moments that I felt were better than others. And
Yeah, I guess I have to wonder. I just having not seen this obviously and not being a fan of Bridgerton or Downton Abbey or any of this stuff, like I feel like is there maybe there's some stuff in here, Price, that's maybe just jokes for that audience that like maybe if I haven't seen Downton Abbey and I don't follow Bridgerton, like that maybe I'm missing out on some of the
I'll tell you
humor.
what. I'll tell you what. I've actually watched some British programming when it comes to this kind of stuff. It's not that like Downton Abbey is my main thing, but I've watched enough like British dramas and things, period pieces, and I was able to pick up on at least I could tap into the humor. I didn't feel alienated, even if I don't sit around and watch Downton Abbey all day. I've seen enough other things that like do a similar thing, if you understand what I'm saying. So I didn't
Sure.
feel that I was alienated, that I'm like, oh, I don't understand the jokes. I understood the jokes. I just felt like I said, uh, some of them were good. Occasionally there would be a joke and I'd be like laughing, or I think just most of the time it was more of a chuckle. It was like I wanted to laugh out loud. When I think. when I think of the first time, this has been years. I think of the first time I saw something like A Fish Called Wanda. I don't know why I suddenly thought of that because we were talking about Monty Python. At least it was had something to do with them and had John Cleese in it. In any case, that movie, I remember the first time seeing it, I couldn't stop laughing. Like it was just a nonstop laugh situation. Whereas, like this movie, it didn't do the nonstop laugh thing. It wanted it to be nonstop laugh, but it wasn't as strong. And if the final thing, if I had to say what I think could have improved the movie, when you see Jimmy Carr, uh, when you see Jimmy Carr and he's doing the thing that he's like this weirdo priest, that is actually funny. And I think I wanted to see more stuff like that. I think that Damian Lewis was good. I think that Jimmy Carr was good. Maybe if you would have thrown into a movie like this, Mr. Bean, like the actor, uh, and what's his name, like a Ricky Gervais. If you would have thrown a few other comedians into the fold here, and like put them into the mix. Like if the detective trying to find out the murderer was Ricky Gervais, I feel like already this movie goes up in value. Do you get what I'm saying?
Sure.
Like
Yeah, no, I see. I see what you're going for.
some actors are just naturally funny. There's some actors that you put them, on the screen, and they're just going to do something that's sort of amusing. Even just their general presence there brings that kind of thing. I was thinking of like a Ricky Gervais and Mr. Bean. I don't know why I'm blanking on the actor's name. What's the actor's name for Mr. Bean?
Oh,
Rowan
Rowan
Atkinson,
Atkinson. Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
So Rowan Atkinson or something like that.
Yeah.
In any case, if you had a few people like that, I am telling you that it would have been like a game changer for the movie. You just need a little bit of people, even if the things around them were serious and they were acting like silly or weird or cynical. I think that people would have like gotten behind it. And that's what I think is missing from the movie. And that's why I told you that Jimmy Carr was actually a stand-up comedian and can deliver laughs. The fact that he sort of relegated himself to something that you see a few times on screen, laugh, and then he disappears, probably not the best decision. That's just my personal opinion, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to see a movie that makes me laugh as well. I'm really, really.
Yeah.
hopeful.
I think that comment earlier, talking about like how comedy is kind of like atrophied. Like I think that's actually pretty accurate. I think a lot of these comedians, the people who are writing these comedies, the people who are out there producing these things, it's one thing for a comedian to step up on stage doing some stand up and be really edgy. He's got an audience of less than 100 people, and he can really kind of go where his comedy takes him, or she can go where that comedy takes her in that room, kind of playing with the audience and so on. But when it comes to trying to build a TV show or a film where you're going to be doing comedy, I think a lot of these people are still very, very cautious about what they're actually going to say, because they're concerned about what the what the other executives at the studio are going to say about the jokes that they made. They're concerned about what their friends are going to think about the jokes that they made. They're going to be concerned about whether or not this is going to ruin their career, or if they're going to be canceled or whatever. And so yeah, I think there's still people who are they want to make comedy, they want to get out there and do it, but their hands are tied because they're afraid of being canceled. They're afraid of making a joke that is going to be seen as, racist or, phobic or something like that. They can't actually go out there and tell a joke, make a comedy with really funny stuff going on in it, because they're too afraid.
I mean, when you think Mars Monkey Max, I haven't seen a fish called Wanda in years, but I will say that
I thought you were going to say you hadn't seen it.
no, I haven't seen it in years. But I'm saying when I saw it the first time, I couldn't stop laughing. Like I was so happy, and like I feel like every joke there between,
Oh,
the actual actors that are just so good, between the taking it all like to the extreme to these kind of absurd levels, really well thought out comedy. And then I think of this Fackham Hall thing. I feel like there was a lot of good intention with Fackham Hall and even good ideas. There's certain ideas I'm like, well, that's pretty interesting. Maybe a little more. Let's focus on this joke or something a little more. But blink and you miss it. They go to the next joke. They go to the next joke. It's as if they're thinking, well, if we just do like a million jokes, everybody will be happy. But I would have been okay with half the amount of jokes as long as the jokes were maybe a bit more thought out, maybe given a little room to breathe or to build up into funny scenes or whatever. It's they said that they were influenced by, like, let's say, The Naked Gun. I think of something like Frank Drebin taking the microphone and going to the bathroom. I think of that scene until today. I don't know why. That scene has stayed with me forever. I don't know why. It made me laugh the first time I saw it. If you show it to me now, I'll still laugh again. It's just so funny. And it's like, even today, when I find myself, like, you're in a restroom in a public place, there have been times that I think of Frank Drebin and that situation. And I don't feel like Fackham Hall had that kind of memorability, if you understand what I'm saying.
yeah. I like that comment by Read by Nature. I think that actually might be some of the case there. Carr saying he feels he was essentially grandfathered in to get away with his material. I don't know if it's necessarily that. I think that he's been in the industry long enough. He's got enough clout that, yeah, he can basically say what he wants. And he is the type of guy who is not going to allow himself to be canceled. You have to understand that a lot of these people, they allow themselves to be canceled by being kowtowed, by the mob. They do the one thing that they should not do, they cannot do. They turn and they apologize. Once they've apologized, they are done, because you can't apologize enough to appease these people. What you have to do is what a Jimmy Carr would do, is to tell them, if you didn't like my joke, you can go blow yourself, right? I don't really care. He has enough clout. He's built up enough of a following. He's well known enough that he can just tell people to screw off, and he's just not going to allow himself to be canceled. And so I think he kind of has a point there in that, yeah, he's big enough that cancel culture couldn't really come for him, even if they tried.
Yeah, that's possible. I think that Ricky Gervais, if he tried to start a career today, he may not succeed. Same with Carr. There's a lot of people. I understand his comment, and I'm not dismissing it. I think that Chappelle, if he just popped up today, I don't know if people would be as receptive. There's a lot of people that are just like, they're here. They've built a name for themselves as comics, and nobody can really do anything. So they just continue to do it. But yeah, I mean, I think that that's a fair. Laya says they gave us a rack of Bud Light instead of a pint of Guinness. I guess, but
I don't know if it's that bad.
no, I mean, it's like I said, I can appreciate certain things that happen here. I would encourage. I didn't give this a failing grade, and I would encourage the people that did this to maybe think, how can they, step up their game, because there's something to like here, but there's more to like. If they can just elevate it to another level, that would be cool. And yeah, it's great that people are even making comedies. So I support it. Didn't suffer watching it. It's fine. By the way, I don't know why I thought about this. This is the dumbest thing. And I thought about it today. I probably shouldn't even mention this stupid thing. Did I ever tell you that I was invited to an advanced screening of NCIS Sydney? Did I ever tell you that,
Gosh, it
Professor?
seems like you might have mentioned it before, but no, go ahead.
So that's actually the first video that I think I posted on this channel, is that I went to watch. Let me see if I can find it. It's a short video. I got invited. I don't. The reason why I remembered it is because when I arrived there, some lady walked up to me and she's like, "Would you like a drink?" And there were like, the trays with all these kind of cool cocktails and stuff. So, she explained this is like, I don't know what it was, and I'm like, okay, great. And I take it and I drink it, and I feel like nothing is going on. And I said, what's in this drink? And then, you know what it turned out? It was a non-alcoholic beverage, Professor.
That's not cool. That's not fair.
And the thing is that, if you're going to invite people to NCIS Sydney, like basically you're sitting in a movie theater and they're showing you like episodes of of NCIS Sydney, the best thing you can do is give them something alcoholic. Give me alcohol to watch that thing. It's your best bet,
I'm here to watch your NCIS show. I had better get some booze.
I can't
please.
believe that I even
Yes.
went to that thing. Let me see if I can find it. This is from November 2023. So this is really, really, old on this channel. This has to be one of the first things I ever did on this channel.
It's like showing
And
up to an academic conference. They say there's an open bar, and when you walk up there, they're like got Shirley Temples and stuff.
So I'm going to share it. It's what is it? It's like 6 minutes long. So you guys, hopefully you'll be patient. Are you ready, Professor?
I'm ready.
I haven't watched this in 2 years. I don't even know what I did here. I'm kind of curious myself. Chat, get ready. You're going to watch my review from 2 years ago of me reviewing NCIS Sydney. Okay, are you ready?
Do it.
Professor?
Do it.
A few weeks ago, I was resting on my couch when I suddenly received an invitation to see an advanced screening of a new TV show from CBS and Paramount Plus called NCIS Sydney. Obviously, my first reaction to this was complete shock, as until now, I'm actually not quite sure why I was even invited. But oddly, for a number of reasons, this new show did pique my interest. While rather generic procedural shows like NCIS aren't exactly my preferred type of entertainment, in its early days, I didn't mind the original flagship NCIS show starring Mark Harmon. I mean, the writing on these type of shows has always been very generic and predictable, but if nothing else, those early years of the original NCIS series did have a very likable ensemble cast with good on-screen chemistry. Over the years though, as most of the longtime cast members from that era have gradually departed, in my opinion, NCIS has lost much of its charm. Again, I've never considered it anything special to begin with, but it's easy to process programming that doesn't really demand much of its viewers, like a hybrid between comfort food and a guilty pleasure. NCIS has also spawned a number of spin-offs, but I've never really been a big fan of any of them. NCIS LA featured the late Miguel Ferrer, who I liked from the movie RoboCop, but he wasn't really given much to do there. NCIS New Orleans featured Scott Bakula, best known for Quantum Leap and Star Trek Enterprise, and while I genuinely like him as an actor, I think his talent was pretty much wasted on that show. NCIS Hawaii, I simply never got around to watching, so I can't really comment on it. But this new NCIS Sydney show, set completely outside the US and featuring a more international cast, seemed like it was trying to do something a bit different. And since I was genuinely curious to see how it would play out, I decided to confirm my presence at this premiere. Upon my arrival at the event, I was immediately given an official NCIS Sydney bag with a hat, cup, and bottle opener
I still have
which
that.
was kind of nice, but not everything was fine and dandy at the premiere. You see, guests of this screening were served a variety of cocktails, but unfortunately, and I hope you're sitting down for this, all of the cocktails that were served at this event were alcohol-free. And quite honestly, this baffled me, because if you're going to invite people to see an advanced screening of an NCIS show, alcoholic beverages are very much needed. But aside from the beverage issue, everything else went smoothly with the screening. As far as plot goes, the episode starts off at a press event in Sydney where a US Navy officer collapses and dies. Initially, there's some tension between Michelle Mackey, an American NCIS agent, and JD, a local Australian federal police,
why would they invite
over
me
who
to watch
will
this
conduct
shit,
the
Professor?
investigation.
That's the thing
Ultimately,
that I don't
it is
understand here.
decided by the superiors that they must work together on the
I was
case,
still polite,
with Mackey leading the
even
joint
with their shitty
investigation team.
beverages.
Throughout the episode, there are a number of twists and turns that involve radioactive leaks and espionage, and while on the surface it seems like the joint
That's how you
American-Aussie
got into
team
the
is
screening? I
successful
don't know
in
how I
solving
got
the
into the
case,
screening.
it appears that there's still more work that needs to be done. So by the end of the episode, it's decided that the Australians and Americans that we meet in this episode will all be working together moving forward
Did I
as some
wear the
sort of
hat? I don't
joint
even know where that hat is
Australian-American
now.
task force under the banner of NCIS. Now,
It's
you
somewhere
can see
around
by
here,
this
but
plot
I-
description that there's nothing exactly groundbreaking about this show's writing, but it's certainly serviceable enough for a procedural NCIS pilot episode. It has the right twists and turns in the right places, and however preposterous, it kind of works within this specific genre. I also think that creatively, highlighting the differences between the two main characters is very effective. JD is a cocky and arrogant local Aussie police guy that kind of as the show
Let's see.
progresses like of Hollywood, CBS and in Australia, as it is produced by an Australian
that's why
team
it
for
was
that
interesting.
specific audience.
In
However,
any
due to
case,
the
that was the main thing. The bottom line is that I was invited to this weird NCIS event. I went, and it was really, really dumb. But
Yeah.
I
And
didn't.
this dud of a show got 3 seasons.
You know why? You know why? First of all, what I did say in my review, but I just didn't feel like even listening to myself blabbing about it for another 3 minutes. All things considered, that pilot episode for the Australian one had a little more character than a lot of times what I see here in the US ones. Like, I thought that the cast was pretty likable, the Australian character. There was one Australian actor that I thought was pretty decent, and didn't completely hate it for whatever genre. I think at the end I said it's not the type of show that I would watch, but if you like these type of shows and like NCIS is your thing, it's like within that realm, it's like a 7 out of 10 on an NCIS level, just not really my cup of tea, if you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
So the thing is that the reason they did all of this is a really interesting story. What happened was, and I said this in the video, but I just didn't feel like hearing myself talk anymore. So, I mean, I'm listening to myself talk now, but I didn't feel like listening to that thing. In any case, what I was trying to say is that at the time there was a writer's strike, and Hollywood is doing all their strikes, and NCIS Australia was supposed to be something that only gets shown in Australia, and they were able to film it because they did it like not through a union in the US. They did something else, and they didn't need the people here. So at the time they were scrambling, CBS were scrambling for shows, and then they're like what do we do? So somebody said, hey, there's NCIS Australia, and they're like, what's that? They're like, it was supposed to only be shown in Australia, but we can work like a loophole with the strikes, and we can show it on CBS now and say that it's a new NCIS show. And somebody just probably said, nobody's going to know the difference, all those shows are crap anyways. And somebody said, you know what, you're onto something, let's just show this stupid thing, maybe nobody will notice. And then they just said the grand premiere of NCIS Australia. And the same people that usually tuned in to watch NCIS New Orleans, NCIS Hawaii, NCIS LA, NCIS, just the same people went and tuned in to watch the Australian one. So they got good ratings. They're like, shit, we didn't even have to pay these people a lot. This was like a whole different production. And I think that from that moment, and I said it in the video, that it was kind of a game changer, because if studios noticed what happened here, they may start doing more productions abroad, not having to even use the Hollywood system. And I think that this show was really kind of a game changer when it came to explaining what you could do if you just want to bypass all these unions in Hollywood. So that's what they did with it.
Interesting.
You know what?
Interesting.
There is something funny. When the screening ended, a few people came to me with like a video camera, and like a host, and they wanted to like interview me so that later, I don't know where, they'd show me like expressing my thoughts about NCIS. And I just wanted to leave that place. I did not. I'm like, no, thank you. I am not going on camera. I'm not talking about this show.
Trust me when I tell you, you don't want my honest opinion.
Right. I mean, at least if they would have given me some like cool drinks, top shelf whiskey throughout the evening, maybe they roll a camera and I'd be like, you know what? There were some detectives here and they solved a crime.
You served me a mocktail and then made me sit here and watch the show.
You know what I
You don't
remember,
want to
though?
know what I really think.
Yeah, you know what I remembered from this evening, though, and I kind of I blocked it out and I remembered it today because I thought of this drink. This is all because I thought of Fackham Hall, how I couldn't drink alcohol while watching it, which is a shame. which I recommend to everybody. So I thought of this NCIS. But you know what I remembered from this whole NCIS? I had like for some reason, I had something that it was like 2 tickets. I could bring another person, which I didn't do. I just went to it. And as I was standing online, there was like a young lady standing next to me, and I guess she couldn't find her. She printed it out, but she couldn't find it. Uh, I don't know if she ever had one or she printed it out and she couldn't find it. I have no idea. In any case, being the gentleman that I am, at some point when the lady came and like I knew that she didn't have her ticket. I had two. I just told her, listen, there's 2 tickets. You can go in, and then she went in. So when me and this other young lady that I didn't know, I think she was either from France or Switzerland. I say France or Switzerland because I think that her first language was French. Uh, you could be from Switzerland and speak French, so one or the other. In any case, the when the VIP thing, like they took us and they gave us like the bullshit drinks, and then they like ushered us to a certain place. And I feel like there were different places you could sit in the theater. Where in back it's more like not as fancy seats, but in front it's better seats. Are you with me, Professor?
Yeah.
So thinking that this lady is with me, which I'm nobody, I don't even know why they're like they care about me. This is all very bizarre. They just said, "Oh, like they thought because she entered on my ticket that like they'll usher us into this like sort of VIP table." And there was like even I don't know. They didn't have alcohol, but I think they gave us some kind of snacks or something there. So it had like a very kind of nice feeling, whatever. And I said, and I watched it. And then the second, this was so funny, Professor, because I felt like it was on a TV show. You're not gonna like, I'm gonna tell you what happened, but you're not gonna. If I now ask you to guess what happened next, you wouldn't guess it. I'll give you a chance. Guess what the next thing happened.
Oh God, I have no idea. I
Guess,
really don't.
guess. I'm telling the chat. Guess what happened? Like we watched this whole thing. I watched. She sat like next to me because they sat her there, and there's the snacks and whatever. Guess what happened at the end of the screening? I'm willing to take bets from the audience. Uh,
Anybody?
Anybody? Nobody's even guessing.
Shit.
She was a hooker. You know what? It's not, but this is the funny part. This is actually a really good comment, and I'll explain why. The second the thing is over, the lights go on, and I think the people came with a camera, which I told them to go away, and they wanted to interview her. She's just like sitting next to me because that's where they sat her. I didn't really know her, Maybe we exchanged a few words, but like, I was a nice person that let her just, enter because what do I care, So then, as the thing is over, there's a few girls that like are standing there and they recognize her. And then they're like, "Oh, like I see that you're here." And I think that they were way in back in the theater. I don't think that they were in front in the more VIP area. Are you with me, Professor?
Yeah.
So what happened is that I know how weird this sounds. I think that they thought that like we came together, like that the reason she was able to get that is because I'm like a sugar daddy. You know what I mean? And I felt so bad for this young lady that they thought that I was the sugar daddy. At least if she had a sugar daddy and it was like Bradley Cooper. But the fact that they thought that, and I think that like I just quickly, I don't know, I did something because I wanted to like diffuse this. So I just like quickly left. And I hope that like that's not what they thought. You know what I mean? I suspected that's what they thought, and I quickly left. Like, oh, goodbye. Like, I don't know what, and I got out of there. I wonder to this day what that whole thing was about. So that was the whole situation.
Funny.
No, but the funny thing is, I was like the Big Lebowski. Like I had like an extra ticket. I'm like, oh, you lost it here. You can go in. And then like I stand up, and there's like, oh, like fancy meeting you here. And they were all these like young ladies. I think they were students. They were studying film or something. I don't know. They were like in their 20s. You know what I mean? I was not in my 20s. The whole thing felt really awkward, and they're like thinking probably to themselves, how did she end up in this more like fancy area with like this, you know, how did she get here? Why are we in back? You know what I'm saying? And I'm just thinking to myself, I gotta get out of here. I don't know what this is. I gotta leave. I vanished. So yeah, they were hookers. Uh, Lio says you made it worse. Yeah, that's like they weren't sure, but me leaving so quickly, they're like, we know what's going on here. Uh, yeah, it's funny. I feel very bad about that whole situation. I didn't even mention it in the review. Maybe today I would have mentioned it because I'm just like, who cares, But also, it was close at the time. I don't know. Not that she knew. She didn't know what my YouTube was. I don't even remember if maybe I told her that or I reviewed stuff, but I never said what my channel was. I'm very careful. There was a point in time that I met somebody from, how do I want to be careful here. I met somebody from a streaming platform company, and I won't give any more details, but that person was like talking to me, and I was talking to them about like channels and about videos and views and things like that. And it was a very interesting conversation. And then that person said, "Oh, what's your channel?" And I'm like, "Nope." And I never said it. And probably that person is thinking, "What an asshole! Why can't he tell me what the channel is?" But how could I? You know what I mean? Like, if I say what it is, then you understand, Professor.
Then the gig is up.
Exactly.
Yep.
They do all their business at the NCIS screenings. That's like the the hooker capital of the world is watching like NCIS Australia with Price of Reason. That's where all the ladies of the night gather, apparently.
They know where to find their Johns. They go where the business is, And
They
it's
know
all
where the
it's all
business
those
is.
people who are not liquored up because all they got were mocktails.
I don't understand the mocktail thing. Why couldn't you just give you need to give people drinks. For NCIS Australia, you got to give drinks. Oh well. Anyhow, it was a very strange story. I thought I saw a comment from Six before, but I feel like she disappeared. What did Six say?
She asked if it was your real voice in that first video.
Well, the thing is that it was my real voice, but it was like put through a little bit of a pitch. At the time, when I started doing YouTube, my initial videos especially, I was sort of doing a character. I wanted it to be like almost like a little wisecracking puppet, and I had like a vision for it. And I did something of like made him sound like a little more British and have like this kind of funny voice. And then at this point in time, I had already really kind of uh, almost gotten rid of that completely. And the only thing that I did with my voice there is that I think that the pitch is higher. So that's the only thing that happens there. And these days I don't really do that anymore. Like not anywhere. You could still go like a year or 2 years back. You'll see not that it interests anybody, but I think that at some point especially as I was doing these live streams, I said to myself, well, it's strange that my voice is like this here, and then in my videos, it sounds like some weirdo. I mean, I sound like a weirdo anyways, but a different weirdo. So what I did is that I think that over the course of like a year, every video that I did, I like lowered the pitch by like 0.01% or something. Each time, like I lowered by more and more and more and more until it just became my regular voice. Do you get what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, yeah.
I don't know if you ever noticed it that like these days I think I'll sound pretty much similar anywhere you hear me.
Yeah. Yeah, I've gone back and watched some of your earlier videos outside of even just the stuff that we've seen here. So yeah.
Six says I'm here, I'm busy coughing. Just so you know, Six, I dedicated an early portion of this broadcast to you. And I told everybody that I was accidentally kind of a douche. I didn't mean it, but it happened anyways. So I confessed. Six probably doesn't even care, but I did confess and say it. So if you haven't checked out that portion of the show,
you can go back to the
and go back and hear me confess to being a douche.
Yes.
Liosh, I exactly was that. I was like Triumph the Incel Doug, but the price of reason. That was what I was. Like that was the goal. It was more of like a, I don't know if to say like a geeky version of that. It wasn't exactly like the Triumph Insult Dog. I wasn't just looking to insult, but douchey little puppet certainly fits what I was trying to do. And yeah, it wasn't something that I could sustain. So
It's a great puppet for me to poop on. Sorry.
Price told me to go back. This is from 6. Price told me to go back and listen to his earliest videos to hear the voice difference. I made a playlist of them, and now they knock me out in 5 minutes or less.
Hey, you know what? If you got a strategy to help you get some more rest, that's a good thing.
Hey, I don't know. I actually think that my earliest videos are some of my best work. Like they're really, really good, in my opinion. Probably more thought and work went into them than so much other stuff that I did. And in a way, it kind of shows you how in our day and age, quality is not necessarily going to get you anywhere. Sometimes you got to go for quantity over quality. Unfortunately, I still think that when it comes to like artistic merit, those early videos, that was much more artistic, and I really had fun creating something that was like a TV program. Like it was different than what we do here. I'm very happy with what we do. It was very difficult to sustain me making a TV program that I was, with what I was doing when I was the only guy working on it. You know what I mean? It was a lot of work to do the few videos that I did, and also I told you at the time the couve came and there was all this stuff, so it wasn't realistic. I guess it wasn't meant to be, but still enjoyable for whatever it is.
There's plenty
Uh,
of things that start out
I
as one thing and then we transform them into something else. As
6
time goes
says,
on.
"I do care and stop calling yourself a douche. That whole thing was a fever dream." Well, I explained. 6 says they are very good. I just explained that you said me one thing and I was talking about something else, and it was unprofessional of me. But yeah, no, 6 is cool with it, and I still felt that it was nice if I said something because here at Price of Reason Studios, we take that kind of journalistic integrity thing very seriously. By the way, what else do we have on our docket today? Warner Brothers sale. So today I had
Yes.
like a producer Patrick moment.
On the scene.
I stood in my own like apartment. I was like in my kitchen. I went Price of Reason on the scene. Nobody heard it, but I actually stood there and said it because there was some kind of article that I saw today. Let's see for a second if I can find it. Let's see for a second if I can find this article.
Was it from Variety? Yeah, I've got that one pulled
Okay,
up.
this is the one. So what happened was, how sometimes I'm nitpicky and annoying and I prove to everybody that I was right and everybody gets annoyed?
And everyone loves the iPhone 17 Pro as well.
I don't know how this got here.
It's
I didn't want this at all.
Pricey's ad blocker.
Stop sharing. You shove so many weird commercials. Let's see if I can share it again with that iPhone. So basically, this thing here, it says Paramount Skydance's latest bid for Warner Brothers Discovery backed by 3 Middle Eastern wealth funds.
Mhm.
Now, I don't know if you remember this, but what happened with that whole producer Patrick thing is that he told everybody that the Saudis are going to buy Warner Brothers. And at the time, that's all he said. He said that he didn't know what was happening with Comcast, and that's what was happening. Meanwhile, a lot of other, even independent publications, YouTube channels, all went and ran with that story. And I'm not criticizing anybody. It's fine. It was a fine thing to report. But the only thing at the time I said was this. I said, first of all, these Saudis, if they want to buy something like Warner Brothers, they're sort of a foreign entity, and that would be difficult for them to do. So I said the right thing on a business level to do was to actually team up with an American company. Now, I mentioned, and this is the mainstream media was saying that it could be Comcast. They were hinting that Comcast. I said, listen, Comcast could have met with the Saudis and wanted to do something, but I actually found some information online that it was the Ellisons that a few weeks earlier or something were in Saudi Arabia for some unexpected visit or something, or seemingly just for unrelated reasons. And I said in my video, I said something like, don't count the Ellisons out. They could still team up with the Saudis themselves. We don't know that they're not. And now, they're doing this. And I guess what I'm saying is that there were a lot of people that had bits and pieces and said things that were somewhat accurate. But it seems, based on this article, that the person that was the most accurate, Professor, was me. Price on the scene. That's all I have to say.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. So
Now, I don't know if it's going to help. Apparently, what's happening now is that I guess according to these kind of trades or whatever it is and whispers, the bids are now it's like neck and neck with Netflix and with Paramount. Now, the thing is that Netflix could run into a lot of bureaucracy because they're so strong in the market. For them to also swallow this up could trigger that whole antitrust things. And with Trump being also like a friend of the Ellisons, I think that Trump and his administration are leaning more into making the Paramount one a smooth ride versus the Netflix one. So even if the board of directors and some people like, Zaslav or whatever, they seem to like the Netflix idea more, it may be a little more tricky than that, because even if Netflix were to make a bid and accept it, if they're drowned in bureaucracy for 2 years with regulators and things like that, and maybe they get rejected at the end, that could be a different issue. Not to mention that all those people that are like, oh, James Gunn is fired in a minute, and then Zack Snyder is going to return, all that stuff, that itself becomes probably implausible. Probably like for years it'll be some court thing with Netflix. Meanwhile, James Gunn is going to go ahead and make all his shitty movies or whatever it is, and I don't think anybody's going to do anything. The only thing that may happen is that when Gunn's contract is over, the end of 2026, it just won't get renewed. I tend to think that no matter what happens, even if they never sold Warner Brothers, even if they did sell it, whoever buys it, whoever sells it, I have a feeling, and I could be wrong on this, unless it's like an Alex Kurtzman illogical situation, anybody that shows up, the smart decision to make is, James, finish your contract and leave. They don't have to pay him any penalties. They don't have to do anything. He can just walk away, and nobody's obligated to renew a contract.
Nope.
So I kept saying from day one, in spite of all the excitement from different people, that could be the number one thing that happens. And whether you like Zack Snyder or not, or the whatever that is, I do think that if Paramount comes in and the Saudis are involved, they do seem to like Zack Snyder. I don't know how much of an impact that would make, if that could make a difference, but I wouldn't completely underestimate Snyder in terms he's not bad at navigating these type of politics, especially when there's like a corporate mess of acquisitions and things like that. He's done it before, and I wouldn't count him out. Like, I wouldn't dismiss him, but at the same time, if they're going to sit 2 years in court, I don't know how realistic that is. And don't forget that the more time goes by, all these kind of OG DCEU actors are not getting any younger either. They're not young now. They're not getting any younger. So,
nope.
It'll be interesting, if nothing else, however you feel about James Gunn or Zack Snyder movies or whatever, just for me, reporting on it and looking at it from the side, very intriguing stuff. This Warner Brothers sale thing has been intriguing.
Yeah, it's fascinating.
It is. It
really,
actually
really
is.
interesting to see how things are moving, changing in in Hollywood with all of this. So yeah, we'll I think we're going to be waiting on this for a little while longer. I think I think that well, Zaslav, I think is going to want something very specific. Money wise, he wants big money. He wants to have, I think he wants to continue to have a lot of control over where WB goes, whoever the new owner is. I don't know. I keep wondering, yeah, maybe the money's there, but are some of these companies going to be willing to give him what he's asking for in this deal? I don't know. I don't
Yeah, yeah. Do you remember when that whole producer Patrick thing happened?
know.
I'm trying to find. I can't find Professor. I can't find producer Patrick.
Oh no.
Let me see. There's a reason why. There's a reason why. Let me see if I can find that thing. Okay, maybe it's this thing. Are you ready?
Yep.
I can't find producer Patrick, Professor.
Well, that's unfortunate.
When did that happen? When was the producer Patrick? I can't remember now.
Oh, when did it was originally published?
When did I
I
report on
don't.
producer Trap Patrick? I just don't remember it. Shit.
Did you bookmark it or?
I thought that this was it, but maybe it wasn't. Let me see. Let's see.
Are you looking at another tab? Because we're not seeing it.
Oh no, I was still searching
Oh,
for it.
okay.
Tell some jokes. Let me try to. There's a reason why, but I can't seem to find it. I am embarrassed that I can't find this thing. It couldn't have disappeared, could it?
Let's see. Is it there's a report from Cosmic Book News on November 17th.
November 7th, you say?
November 17th.
Okay.
Cosmic Book News, November 17th. Hollywood producer Patrick Caliguri.
Okay. Producer Patrick. What you said November 17th?
Yes. I think that's the post you might be looking for. I can just share it if you want.
I was looking for the video itself, but I can't
Yeah, I've got the video.
I'm looking for the one that I put producer Patrick in my video, but I can't find it.
Oh.
It's like I can't find my own video. Do you understand the issue?
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're not able to find your own thing.
I wanted to bring something from that thing to show you something, but I can't seem to find it. I wasn't looking for him specifically. You're saying that it was November 17th that it was written?
That was when that's the post that I'm looking at from Cosmic Book News with the video of Patrick talking about what he was talking about.
It's for November 17th?
Yeah.
I see. Well, I'll try one last thing, and if it's not it, it's not it. Oh well. Oh well. It's strange. It couldn't be that a video disappeared, could it, Professor?
I wouldn't think so.
Oh well. Well, we did have something else that I wanted to discuss, which, like, I saw that Half-Life 3 were employing AI. Did you see anything about that?
That is the rumor right now that supposedly that we have that there is a leak that's come out. It's mentioned earlier today on Reddit that Valve is going to be using various types of machine learning models for their Source 2 engine in order to create more realistic physics with lower processing needs. Like instead of creating a very complex mathematical model that would be used to handle the physics, they're going to use machine learning, essentially, type of AI to handle that stuff instead. So let's see if I can find uh let's see. So some of this stuff has some people think that maybe the post itself might not be legit because it was written by AI. Appears to have been written by ChatGPT. But here I'll pull up one of these so we can look at it. So this was the post that was made to Reddit. Oh, come on, Tab. You can share. You can do it. There we go. Okay. So this was the leak supposedly from this insider. He says, I'm wiping this account, but I wanted to drop the real leak. I don't work for Valve, but I'm at a major AI ML lab that partnered with them on tech for Half-Life 3. The game is absolutely coming, and the announcement is imminent. But supposedly Half-Life 3 has been coming for like 2 decades. But the breakthrough Valve was waiting for was the ability to handle physics, specifically fluids and destruction, using machine learning instead of expensive deterministic calculations. So the way that you would do this in a more traditional engine is essentially that you would model the physics using mathematics, right? You would write the code so that it would handle various things in a way to model actual physics in the real world. But this takes really, really complex calculations. It takes a lot of time for everything to be processed. And so, the more accurate you try and make those physics, the more calculations it takes, the more, heavy the computing task is. And so it takes much, much more, time, or it takes much greater calculating abilities up front. So basically what they're saying here is that instead of building out this physics model and making it more and more realistic with more and more calculation, instead they're moving to trying to use some kind of machine learning where they're building and they're training this physics model using machine learning rather than just computing it outright. So the essentially then that means that they would be able to do this by taking a shortcut, by training a machine learning model to predict how the physics would react. So instead of going through the very, very complex calculations of this physics simulation, instead they simply train these models to sort of guess how it would react. And that allows them to recreate these physics in a very realistic way with a much simpler, much lower amount of calculation. So rather than the hardware having to work through the process of really solving these very complex mathematical calculations, they just get to use the model that says, well, this is how it should work. And it basically just guesses. But as we know, as we've learned, if you used any of these machine learning models, if you use ChatGPT, you use a lot of these other models. If you see something like Sora, where it's creating short videos, if you're trying to simulate how this ought to work, a lot of times you can get some really solid output from that. And if you think about if all they're doing is just modeling this small interaction here, this small interaction there, and you're doing that in lots of little pieces, then those calculations can actually work pretty well. And the guesses as to how those physics reactions take place can be made pretty accurately. So, as a saying here, it says Half-Life 3 is effectively a tech demo for this advancement, allowing developers to create experiences with 100 times the physical interactivity with less than 100% of the historical compute cost. It is a genuine game changer. Now, how much of this is true, we don't know. Obviously, this is just a leak. And yes, there have been accusations that this particular post was written using ChatGPT. In fact, from what I understand, the original poster admitted that it was written with the aid of ChatGPT. So some people are calling that out, saying that obviously that must then be fake. I don't know that that's the case. A lot of people do their writing with ChatGPT, especially if you are doing something like this where you are leaking data, where you do not want your own personal writing style to be exposed, you would take what you're writing, run it through ChatGPT so that it takes out all of those personal touches, the words that you might use, typos that might get entered in there, stuff like that. It takes all of that out, and it normalizes it basically, so that you can cover up some of those flourishes that would potentially lead to you being exposed. So it's interesting. There's a few different posts here. This one is from Grums. This is the one that sort of popped up here at the top. Half-Life 3 rumored to be using machine learning for faster fluid simulation. Half-Life 3 now needs the made with AI label on Steam. Sure, okay. If what you're doing is essentially taking a shortcut to build out a physics based engine, which if you played the original games, well, if you played the second game, a lot of the way that worked, and then some of the later games that they had using Source, like Portal and Portal 2, a lot of that game is built around the physics and how you interact with the world and how accurate that physics simulation is. That was part of the second game. You had the gravity gun where you could pick things up and fire them around and see how that interacted with the environment around you. So if you can reproduce much more accurate physics with much less actual overhead and the calculations that need to be done, that really could be very, very impressive
I think that,
for these engines to handle. Yeah.
for some reason, I think that with AI, can't you just make entire games now with AI? Like,
You can, and you could write the applications. You could program stuff using AI to write that stuff. Here, what they're saying though is that essentially, instead of doing the very, very complex work of trying to model mathematically the physics that would be used in the game, they're just taking a shortcut to say we're going to train this model as to how the physics should work. And now, instead of going through all of the really complex stuff of calculating these physics to work exactly the way that we want, we're just going to let this model say, well, here's how it would work, based on all of the training data that we've seen. So you wouldn't have to deal with all of that very, very heavy calculation. You would just you would get the physics, pretty impressive physics, I would guess, with much less overhead. So it's fascinating to think. I mean, honestly, if they're not doing what's suggested by this leak, they really should be. They should at least be giving it a try. This could be, as it said in the post, this could be a game changer. If they've got this working where they can build out this physics engine, then great.
some
Yeah.
late guy LI90. I haven't seen you in a while. I remember you being here, and I haven't seen you in a while. Half-Life, maybe my nostalgia talking, but Half-Life was one of the best and did give us Counter-Strike.
Yeah. Half-Life,
That's nice.
Half-Life 2, both magnificent games.
I wonder if some late guy Long Island 90. I don't really know if that's what it is, but I wonder if he's always here and he never says anything, or now he's back. If you're still here, some late guy, you can tell me if it's a situation that you usually don't comment, or this is your grand return. Because I do remember him. That happens sometimes. You know, there's people that listen and we don't even know. It doesn't bother me. I mean, I'm honored even if people are listening and we don't know who they are. Doesn't bother me. Somebody wrote some alert guy. Yeah, it's fine. It's perfectly fine. I feel like he left his comment. We'll never hear from him again. But if we're already on Rumble, I just because that guy is from Rumble, I want to say that if you're here and you haven't yet opened an account, if you're watching through an app, you haven't yet opened an account on Rumble, you should. And if you're on Rumble and you haven't followed us yet, you should do that so you always know when we stream. All really good stuff. Waits some late guy, Long Island 90. I don't even know. I don't know why I say Long Island. It's probably not true. I've been away for a bit. I work a lot and sometimes I take breaks or forget. I remember you guys. Haha. Well, it's nice to see you back. It's
Yeah.
good, like, you know, that somebody resurfaces
Yeah.
from the past. It's always fun.
And yeah, the original Half-Life was fantastic, incredibly good game. And then somebody mentioned, Read by Nature mentioned over on YouTube, Opposing Force. And Opposing Force was a fun add-on. Yes, Opposing Force was great. So was Blue Shift. Blue Shift was also a great add-on to that original story. You got to see kind of the story that was unfolding in the first game. You got to see it from a lot of different angles, which was kind of a funny thing. I had never really seen that happen with a game before. So yeah.
As I just looked for now, just accidentally, I got an alert that I guess sometime this evening Trump posted on his Truth social that
Oh,
all
boy.
the stuff that all the pardons from the auto pen are null and void. I don't know if he can do that. I mean, can he do that even? I don't really even know.
So he's been actually talking about this for a couple of days now. He's been saying essentially that yes, they are working to try and make it so that anything that was signed by the auto pen on certain dates where it can't be there's no verification there that he approved the use of the auto pen, that saying that all of that was illegitimate. And that would mean certain pardons or clemency that he granted. It would mean the preemptive pardons that he gave to people like Fauci and members of his family. There's a whole bunch of stuff going on that they're essentially saying, hey, if it was signed by the auto pen, unless we have some really specific documentation showing that that this was actually, done under the auspices of the president, if he specifically approved the use of this, then it's wiped out. And this is going to face some challenges in the courts, without a doubt. I couldn't tell you where it's going to land. I think that they probably would not be doing this if he did not have people working for him, with him, saying that we have a really solid chance of actually overturning a bunch of this stuff, because there was really suspect stuff happening in the White House at the time. So
I just
don't
want to
know, man.
quickly highlight this comment from Radio Streamer. All the cool kids are here on Rumble listening while ordering car parts. That's good to know. And then
Well, get those hooker headers.
a radio streamer, yup, Diane's don't do themselves. You didn't expect that whole development with the NCIS Sydney. You have to admit that was funny.
Yes, it was.
It was one of those things. Sometimes I feel like I get caught up in situations that are sort of absurd, that only I could end up being in that situation. I don't know why, like, I invite those kind of strange situations to me. Yeah, Elizabeth Quince is saying what you said. And there was somebody here, Citizen 42 Ricochet. I feel like some people watch our stream, and they just very rarely comment. I don't have an issue with it. I'm grateful for anybody
No,
that
it's
listens.
great.
By the way, I think I found that thing that I wanted to show you. I'll keep it really short. I just want to show you because at the time, even the mainstream media was reporting that they thought that Comcast was teaming up with the Saudis or whatever it is, or I don't know even know what they were thinking. So I don't know if you can see this.
Hmm.
Somebody said it's like Razor's Fist saying like I told you, whatever it is. I was fucking right, or whatever he says. I think his analysis is interesting, and if he's heard some rumors, it's worth something. But what I will say is there are additional moving parts here beyond if somebody makes an offer or not. First of all, even if the Saudis come up with a really interesting deal and Zaslav wants it, it still has to be approved by regulators and the government and things like that. It's not something that you just purchase like a car. It's a lot more complicated. Now, do the Saudis have a good relationship with the Trump administration? They do. Is it possible that the sale would go through? It's possible, but the Ellisons also have a good relationship with Trump, and we know they're interested. The other thing that producer Patrick mentions here is that he's not 100% sure what's happening with Comcast, but I actually wouldn't rule out a situation where Comcast would potentially team up with the Saudis and perhaps they'd buy Warner Brothers together. And the reason for this is that Comcast is an American company, and that way, if there is certain bureaucracy you need to push through, having a local company team up with a foreign entity would be more easy to push through than just a foreign entity buying a very American company like Warner Brothers. And there have been reports that the CEO of Comcast has been seen in Saudi Arabia recently. Interestingly, also the Ellisons have been seen there. So we don't know. Maybe they would team up with the Saudis too. And I understand that saying that everything is just one signature away sounds very dramatic, but I think that it's a bit more complicated than that. And yes, I've heard that Zaslav is going to be making an announcement until December of what he plans to do. And certainly there's a chance that this could be real. But like they say in sports sometimes, it ain't over till it's over. So basically, what all the media is saying now, that's what I said on that day. Nobody was talking about Comcast joining the Saudis potentially, and even more so, I said, what about the Ellisons themselves could join the Saudis? And nobody was saying that. Everybody was patting themselves on the back and telling nothing personal. You know, I understand people report on whenever they can, and I'm not trying to throw people under the bus. I'm just saying that once again, I was price of reason on the scene, and nobody ever gives me credit. I feel like I've become producer Patrick now, Professor.
Hmm.
But whatever. All I'm saying is that I was thinking correctly, and there was also like you have a lot of people. I'm going to choose my words carefully because I don't want to throw people under the bus. When you have people going out and saying Zack Snyder is already 1 second away from standing there and making his movie. Like this is already happening. The Saudis bought it. They like Snyder. He's already making the movie. And I was telling people, you need to relax here for a minute. We can't jump and say all that kind of stuff. And this kind of deal is like complicated. And I stand by what I said. So I don't know.
Hmm.
Maybe I'm an asshole that I reminded everybody that I was right. But what can I do? I'm only human, Professor.
He's only human.
I'm only human. Professor's probably like rolling his eyes. But you're right. Price on the scene. That's what it is.
Price
And I stood in
on
my
the
kitchen
sea.
when I saw these articles today and I said,
On the sea.
price of reason on the scene.
On the sea.
So yeah, that was yeah. And I see you were answering 6 here with this thing.
Yeah, she was just it's a genuine question to say.
Listen, it's not an easy.
It doesn't have to be a pardon, and yeah, it's going to have to be battled out in the courts. So, but yeah, essentially, what the argument is that under what grounds would they try and overturn these things? Well, what they're saying is that these things that have to be approved by the president were not actually approved by the president. They were essentially forged, right? They were essentially done by others in his administration, and the auto pen was used to sign off on these things without his strict approval, right? And so
Yep.
that is the argument that this was actually used to sign off on things under the auspices of them being approved by the president when they were not, in fact, approved by the president. So, yeah, it's this is going to be fought out in the courts. There's no question. We will have to wait and see. But yeah, it's it's a bold move on behalf of the administration. I can only guess that they've got some real evidence on their side. I could be wrong. I absolutely could be wrong. But yeah, so Sagacious Six says all he has to say is that he approved them. But did he?
I don't know. I don't know how they prove that. How easily they can prove that, but it's
Yeah.
certainly
Again, it's going to be fought out in the courts. I'm not saying you're wrong, Six. I'm not saying that at all.
no. I don't know if he can do it either. I mean, it's certainly. I'm sure he's happy to say it, but I don't know. Rice is just a man with a finger puppet. That's true. Listen, Six, you're making a good point here. We don't know. I mean,
Yeah.
that's what they're going to say. He's going to say something different. I don't know if he has any evidence that he can show. I don't know what type of evidence he could claim. I don't think it's going to be a simple thing for him to throw out all those pardons. But
No,
he
I don't
likes
think
to
it will
say
either.
that stuff, and he probably just woke up one
It's-
morning and felt that way and tweeted it.
That's and that's Trump, right?
That is.
I am not Donald Trump's biggest fan. There are many things that I
Hey, B-roll.
find incredibly frustrating, and his I don't know, compulsion to fire from the hip sometimes, say things that you know, it drives me nuts. It really does sometimes.
I mean, I still think that there are times that if he didn't say what he thought and he just quietly did it behind closed doors, or, you know, was a little more tactful in the way that he speaks,
Yeah.
it may not be a bad thing, but at this point, like, he doesn't care what we think. You know what I mean? Like, for good and for bad, he just stands there and says whatever he wants. But it is who he is. He is who he is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
In any case, quiet piggy. I don't even know who's she's talking about.
Oh, she's just talking about the when he yelled at that reporter and said, "Quiet, piggy." Yeah.
Oh, right. Yeah, exactly. There's so many crazy stuff he says. I almost forgot about that. Tony Rico 6382 Price the reason you trustworthy entertainment news source. Thank you. I have see, one of the things is that the only reason I started even reporting on that whole Superman thing is that I did a review that I did, like, was pointing out the flaws in the movie, and then I later just did a second, video explaining that the box office wasn't going to be so great the way they're describing now in these newspapers, which was all true. And I was kind of early to explain all of that. I really didn't know, that anybody even cared about this. But what happened is that after I did those two videos, I think that I did maybe videos on other stuff. And you had from time, like, I started getting comments from people. Some of them even reached out, like, on Twitter. Sometimes people on YouTube were writing to me. Like, I make a video for something else and they write, hey, are you going to give another update about what's happening with, like, the DCU, with, like, Warner Brothers, with all this stuff? And when you see people that are really interested in hearing you report more about stuff, then you just, it's sometimes important to listen. If people are watching my channel and they want me to report more on stuff like that, then I did it. I was happy to do it. And, I think that one of the reasons why I'm hopeful, I don't know, I don't want to be like one of those, like, I don't want to go all producer Patrick on you. But what I'll say is that because I'm sort of neutral, I didn't like what James Gunn did with Superman. At the same time, I did have criticism towards Zack Snyder's movies, especially when it came to the writing. But at the same time, as somebody that I felt was kind of neutral, I felt that I could give good coverage because I'm not just going all in. There's people that, like, the second that something happens that even remotely seems supportive of anything Snyder, they go out and it's like, that's it. Like, they'll do the thumbnails that, like, and you see him already, like, directing the next Justice League. You know what I mean? Like, all these, like, headlines and stuff. I don't want to do that. Uh, I think that when there's a company sale and everything's up in the air, I try to really, like, calm down all of that and be kind of neutral and think, What's really going on here?" Now, I'm not saying that it's impossible. I wouldn't rule out that Zack Snyder at some point is going to come back in some format, but I'm saying that, I think that some of the headlines and some of the things of, certain places were kind of sensational. Do you get what I'm saying, Professor?
Sure, yeah.
So you understand? I don't know if you know what I mean. Like, the kind that are like suggesting that it's already like a done deal. You know what I mean? Like, it's already finished. He's already there. He's
Yeah.
doing his movie. It's like nobody could know that for sure at this point.
Mhm.
Even if the whole theory of some people ends up being that theory, they still couldn't have known it at this point. Now it's like it's guessing because you 100% do not know how this will work. Like, how this will work out. Do you get what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah, sure. Yeah.
So all I
No
was trying to do in my reporting is to just give a little more of a balance, and if that came out good and fine, and if some people enjoyed that, it's fine. And I'm sure there's some people that didn't enjoy it, but what can I do? Like I said at the beginning of the stream, I'm just a person. Just do whatever I do and try to do my best. And sometimes I make mistakes too. I'm not always right. Although in this case I was right a lot, but perhaps I'm not always right.
This time you were on the scene.
This time I was on
Yeah.
the scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is that there's been different channels that have been right about a lot of different things. In this case, I feel like my reporting was, at least from what I'm looking at it now, it was pretty decent. I don't know if it's the best, but I did the best I could. That's all I can say. And yeah, let's Karate Werewolf. I see a lot of people hanging out with us. Is there anything that I missed?
Man, not that I can think
Oh,
of.
you know what? I did want to say something.
Oh,
I
okay.
watched let me see this. Uh let's see if I can find this. I think this is it. I'm going to try to share it now. So, I watched the first episode of this.
Yeah.
Have you seen it?
No, not anything I care for.
The thing is that Machete, he made this, the guy that made that shitty Flash movie. But
Mhm.
he directed, it's strange. He directed the first It movie. He directed It, I think it was in 2017 or whatever it was. He made that movie. I actually thought that movie was pretty decent. I didn't hate that movie. I thought it was pretty good. Then he did a sequel that seemed to be like bigger with a bigger cast and all this stuff. And somehow the sequel kind of, wasn't as solid. And then I guess HBO, because both those movies made money regardless of, the second one's quality, HBO let him do some kind of prequel series that he's like producing. And I've watched only the first episode of this. I know there's more episodes, but I finally got around. I watched the pilot episode. It's not the worst thing in the world, I guess, but I don't know. It's just sometimes you start feeling like been there, done that. That happens a lot in horror, you know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
Like, the first Friday the 13th is a little more interesting, but then for the next, like, 7 movies, Jason has a, machete and he just wants to go around killing people. He doesn't have a lot of character development, do you get what I'm saying?
He does not.
Jason doesn't really have a character arc if you think about it.
We don't really learn what his motivations are. Why does he have to kill, right? We don't really get to explore any of those things. We just get a lot of splatter and That's
Karate
fine.
Werewolf. I watched all 6. It's not bad. Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think. Did Freddy Krueger have a character arc or Michael Myers? Not really. They just go out and at the end you see another movie and another movie and another movie. And at some point, you know why you're going to see those movies, but it's just not, not all that good. Uh but I'm gonna give it more of a chance. I agree with you, Karate Werewolf. In this first episode, I thought that there were some interesting scenes that didn't look bad. If nothing else, that machete guy knows how to create like a spooky atmosphere. I don't know that he did anything good with that Flash movie, but again, I said before that it's not necessarily entirely his fault. But regardless, yeah, I think that it's competently made, the first episode. I may check out more episodes. Professor, you don't like horror, right? That's not your
No,
thing.
I mean it's just not my thing. Yeah, I've seen plenty of, especially like 1980s, slasher, splatter and gore kind of stuff. The stuff that from the 80s, 90s, really over the top, ridiculous kind of stuff. I've seen plenty of that. It's goofy fun for what it is, but it's just the horror genre for the most part just has never really done anything for me. I don't really find it all that entertaining. So
Radio
yeah.
Streamer says, I will never forgive them for putting him in space and giving him nanobots and letting him survive re-entry.
That was so
That was so weird. It was so weird. I don't even know if I ever got through that movie. I think I started watching it and it seemed so bizarre that I'm just like, nah, I don't know what this is.
I don't think I've ever actually. No, I think I've only ever
tried
seen
watching it.
clips of that one. I've never actually.
I've tried watching it and I think I stopped in the middle and I said, this, I'm gonna go ahead and just go out on a limb here and say that this isn't canon. I don't know what this is.
Yeah,
It's not in space doing whatever this is. This is like, it's a step too far.
yeah. Oh, Six says she started watching Severance the other day. Yeah, don't know.
Don't know how old
It's
that is.
it's a
from
couple
recent
years old. Just a couple
The-
years old. It's the first season is stellar.
Stellar.
Great storytelling, really good mystery, really interesting characters, and the way it starts out very slow, but it builds as you get through the season till the last episode, edge of your seat. Really, really well done. Second season, not so much. They definitely did not stick the landing. As much as there was, I felt, to enjoy in the second season, there was a whole lot more that felt like they really dropped the ball. So, unfortunately, yeah. Maybe they pick it back up. Maybe the third season gets moving again, starts answering questions, moves us towards some kind of satisfying conclusion for the show. I don't know.
I don't know. I feel like they've lost. They don't know what they're doing on
Like they've
Severance.
kind of
Honestly,
lost the plot. They're
lost
not
the
really
plot
sure
quite literally.
how to wrap it up. Yeah.
They don't know what they're doing, in my opinion. Lasher 5520, you might like Heretic. It's different and surprisingly good. I saw Heretic, and Read by Nature says Heretic was an interesting movie. Heretic was a movie, a very kind of small movie. I think that Hugh Grant gives such a good performance in that movie. I think that for years Hugh Grant hasn't given such a good performance like he does in that movie. The whole movie pretty much rests on his sorry, Sean. Rests on his shoulders. There, I did it.
There you go.
So do you get what I'm trying to say? That the movie is resting on his shoulders. I think somebody was trying to say that even if you don't like horror, you may enjoy that movie.
Huh.
And I tend to agree. It's not like pure like horror, like the kind that you know. It's not like the whole. It's more of a thriller with a bit of a supernatural, but I wouldn't call it a full horror movie at all.
Huh.
Like
Okay.
if you get a chance, I think Heretic is. I agree with them. It's not a bad movie.
Oh, okay.
Anyone watching Pluribus? We're watching it. Yes,
Yeah,
we also
yeah.
we did some streams, like at least one with Robot Head, where
Yeah.
we covered it, which is very cool.
Are you all caught up?
I think I am, but each time I think there's like another episode that came out that I missed.
Well, the most recent episode was from last Friday. where the collective sort of abandons her.
Yes, I saw that.
Okay.
They left her and she's all alone in whatever.
Which I predicted. I called that early on. I said, look, why would this collective, they're sticking around when they know that she is volatile, her emotions can hurt them. Why would they possibly stick around, be anywhere near her if they know that she can harm them? And so it's the logical direction. I kind of called early on. Yeah, they're basically like, oh, she's really toxic, and her emotions are potentially quite dangerous. So yeah, we're gonna pack up and leave. We're gonna go somewhere else. And then I absolutely love the touch of having the recordings when she tries to call them. And they're like, with everything that's happened, we just need our space. It's just hilarious. So well, so good. And then the ending. Some people kind of curious about the ending of this last episode. It was kind of a cliffhanger. I'm 100% certain what she found at the end of that episode, but we'll wait and see.
Well, now I'm curious. What do you think she found?
People.
But have they cloned them? What do you think?
No, the dead people. The people that have died. She was walking through this gigantic. So the whole episode was about this mysterious fluid that they've been drinking.
Right.
That all of these people have been drinking. Because clearly they're not eating regular food. They're processing it into this liquid that they've all been drinking, which appears to be a mixture of proteins and fibers and all sorts of stuff like that. So essentially, it's it's an all-in-one nutrient to keep people alive, because this is now a huge hive mind that doesn't eat people, or doesn't eat meat, excuse me, because they can't kill anything. They can't even eat insects, right? There's only so many things that they can eat, and so instead they just have this slurry stuff that they're drinking all the time. And at the very end, she is sort of tracking down where is this stuff that they're drinking all the time, where is it coming from? She finds a factory. She eventually is able to figure out where they were storing the ingredients that are going into this. She shows up there in this freezer. So she goes into it, and in the freezer is tons and tons of food. We see frozen watermelons, we see frozen potatoes, all sorts of stuff in there. And she comes, and there's some stuff that's laying under a plastic tarp. She lifts it up. She sort of looks at it for a while, and then it takes her probably 10-15 seconds before suddenly she's shocked. She has this oversized reaction, but it takes her a little bit looking at it to figure, and then she has the big reaction. I think it's cut up people. It's people meat that's piled under there, and it took her a little while to realize what it was she was looking at until.
But why do they need to drink that fluid then?
Well, it's human protein. It's protein that's going into this. The processing to create this fluid. They have to get the protein from somewhere, right? They can get it from some vegetables, but there's a lot, and because for this collective, those dead humans are just it's broken hardware, right? They don't actually care that those are dead human beings. To them, it's just protein. And so, yeah, what are they going to do with the dead people? They're going to process them and turn them into protein that they can use for sustenance, because it doesn't matter to the collective that those were humans. It's so yeah, I'm positive that's what she saw at the end. It was, and again, it was probably it was human parts. it was chopped up bits and pieces.
Maybe you're right.
And that's why it took her. She was staring at it. trying to figure out where it was coming from. And and then she realized rather, slowly it dawned on her exactly what it was she was looking at. She was looking at it's a piece of humans. 6 says all foods have protein. Yeah, but not, large quantities of proteins. They have to be able to balance all of that out. They've got lots of other sources for fibers, lots of sources for other vitamins and stuff. They have to have dense sources of protein to be able to process. And since they can't kill animals, they can't kill bugs, they can't harm, a number of other sources that we would go to for dense proteins. It just makes sense that, the dead people, of which there are 800 million plus that they have killed over the past few days, that they would process them for sustenance.
But they don't actually need. Anytime she gets upset, she's the one that's killing them anyways.
Well, when she gets upset, she's the one that kills some of them. But even before that, whatever it was, 11 million that she killed. Just the spreading of this
Right, mind virus. Yeah.
of this mind virus killed over 800 million. So, yeah.
Well, I'm still interested in the show. Sometimes
I am
things,
too. I'm still interested. I am very curious where they're planning to go with the show. Yeah.
I also watched
Um,
Landman. It's all right. I don't know. I know everybody loves Landman. Until now, I'm still not 100. Like, I don't dislike it, and I'll watch new episodes, but I'm still kind of hesitant about it.
yeah.
I don't know if you got a
I
chance
don't
to
know.
watch it.
I have not. I've been trying to catch up on the first season of it. I haven't had a lot of chance to do that this last week, so I haven't been
Okay.
watching any of the new season just yet.
It's okay. I didn't do any spoilers. You can just
No.
you'll watch, and then you'll get to there at some point.
Yeah.
And I guess if you have like names of people that were in the
Yeah. Give me just a second here.
you weren't here for a week, so I had to scroll, and like everybody had to
Oh, it was
wait
the
for me to do that.
worst.
It was
Oh,
really
man.
annoying.
Did you figure out how to use the top fans on YouTube? You can use that now to
Cool.
get all of our names from YouTube. But there's our names from Rumble. I put it in the private chat for you.
From Rumble, okay. Sal the Hamster, Elizabeth Quince, Pure Blood-Based Berserker, Dude Bro Seth 420, Double R Star, Loyish, some late guy, Long Island 90, at Radio Streamer, and B-Roll Stage. So thanks for hanging out with us.
Yeah. And then let's see here over on YouTube, we have the Dead Man, Mars Monkey Max, Tomahawk 511. 6 joined us in the chat this evening. Good to see you, 6. Yitis, Caleb Levine, Marla Sharondoff. Great to see you, Marla. Tony Grigio, Jonathan Conroy, E. Clay Thomason, DJ Play Nice, Adam Gray, Keely Chow, Zune RJ5, Alyssa Marie, The Lovely Sherry, Strong Opinions, Karate Werewolf, Emperor Goodwin, Facatino, Lasher, Rick Costa, Mr. Cizurlo, I can't say it. The Plot Strikes Back, Malachi D. Wildman, Person 1140, Ronnie 5, and Badfoot.
Wait, there's one final thing that I just noticed. I don't know if 6 is still here, but she gave us a piece of cherry pie sticker.
Wonderful.
149. Thank you so much, 6. It was very nice of you.
Oh, and I missed one. Steve O'Coon. Sorry, I missed you there. Good to see you.
Kayla Levine says Frice doesn't know how to use top fans. He only knows how to do OnlyFans. Am I doing the OnlyFans or am I using the OnlyFans? Because I actually don't do either of them. OnlyFans, I got really nothing to offer there. I don't think I'd be the right fit for whatever that is. And what was the other one? Top fans?
So yeah, on in the YouTube chat now, there's a feature called Top Fans, and that shows everyone who's been in the chat.
I see.
Since we don't have their names anymore, all we have is the handles. We can just get instead of having to do what I was doing with AI to summarize everything before.
It's kind of weird that
all
they.
just
Why do they
available
want
there
their
now.
handles? Why can't they just show them as their screen name? What do they get out of this?
They, from my understanding, they had some frustrations with the using those channel names, the screen names that were there, with people changing those and using those to impersonate other people. Because it was fairly easy to change those, and you could change them pretty regularly.
I see.
And so there were some concerns. People were using those to impersonate others and potentially use that to breach accounts and stuff. So instead, they moved over to just using the handles, those little handles that people have, because those are required to be unique, and they're more difficult to change. If you change it, like, you can't change it again for like 14 days.
What do
something,
they
so-
see when I do a message?
Oh, it shows you, but it just shows you as the channel.
It shows like a
owner. So
handle. Does it say Price of Reason Live and a handle?
It shows you're at Price of Reason Live, but it's in gold. Yeah. Because you're the channel.
I see what you're saying. Oh well.
So it's my understanding channel names at one point channel names were still showing up when you were doing super chats, but that's changed now. Those are all only fins.
Adam Gray says Price has only fins.
Oh.
And Six says I'd pay for Price's OnlyFans. You'd be my only customer, Six. It would really be embarrassing. I'll tell you what. I'm actually not an OnlyFans guy. It's just it's not my thing. I feel like it's a strange game of make believe, and I don't see the financial benefit of it. If you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. Some strange people that hang out over there.
It's fine. Listen, I'm not going to judge anybody. If that's like makes people happy, then go ahead and do it. I'm just saying that for myself, it feels like such a phony experience that like not something that I'm looking to personally do. But I don't know. I don't know other people. Other people have to make their own decisions. So if anybody's listening to this stream and you love doing that thing, I don't have an issue with it. I just myself don't want to do it.
I do. Stop it. Get some help. That's what I have to say.
We can't judge people. It's not our position to judge, Professor.
I judge people all the time. I don't know what you're talking
about. I'm trying to be a good person. I'm trying to be a good person, Professor.
Well, good for you.
Six says, discussing would lose all respect for myself. I've worked hard to get myself since retiring from dancing. I've worked hard to get my self-esteem back since retiring from dancing on a pole. I'm sure you did.
Hey, at least dancing on a pole takes some skill. There's people on OnlyFans. There's no real skill involved. It's I'm not going there. Let's say goodnight, Price.
Let's say this is a good time before we say things that we may regret. This is a good time for us to bow out and say goodbye. So thank you all for hanging out with us today. Today is Tuesday, so on Thursday we'll be here again for the Night Owl every Tuesday and Thursday at 11:45 p.m. Eastern on this channel. And if you're not already subscribed, you should do that now. And aside from that, everybody should have a good night.
Take care, everyone.
Bye.